Hey guys, what are you gonna vote? None of the above. That's right, on Bad Movies Rule, the worst movie podcast ever recorded. And today we've got Joe Goratowski in the house. Mel Vandy is clocked out from the shoe store and he's here and ready to give you his 2 cents. And the manimal, Bob Hauser, is here. And I'm James Hauser, your host. Let's go. We're talking about Brewster's Millions from 1985.
I'm
Justin.
Every single one of us hit our first note.
Yes.
Go. Got it. I am so happy to be here on Good Movies Rule.
Go.
This movie sucked.
Go.
Loving it.
You patrons suck.
Bob sucks.
I do
We
suck.
all know Bob
Great
sucks.
movie. Oh my gosh. We are here because of the patrons.
Yeah, you guys picked this movie on purpose, you a-holes. Well, we got Lone Wolf McQuaid, and we got, what's the other one?
Pitch
Pitch Black with Vin Diesel.
That Pitch Perfect?
No, I would have taken Pitch Perfect over this raw, wet turd over here that I just watched last night.
Oh. Would you really?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
the patrons vote once a month. One of our episodes a month is picked by the patrons. And you're right, they did have Lone Wolf McQuaid and
They did
Pitch
this on
Black.
purpose.
They
And
wanted to
went
see
with
us
Brewster's
squirm.
Millions.
They did.
Is that what it is?
This is the rubber effect. They did this on
rubber
purpose.
So you're saying we're going to walk funny tomorrow?
Yeah.
Could be. And you,
Yeah.
now wait, hold on. You said Good Movies Rule.
Yeah.
This is actually,
Yes.
this is an episode of Bad Movies Rule.
I'm sorry, what?
Good Movies Rule is their spinoff that's on Patreon. It's only once a month. This is Bad Movies Rule.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm confused. I thought this is supposed to be an episode of Good Movies Rule.
You basing that just because we're doing Brewster's Millions?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to find out in a second. So for those of you, let me catch everybody up because we're just kind of getting off to a hot start here. For those of you who've never listened to the show, we are a movie roasting podcast. We tend to be a roasting podcast, but if we really like a movie, we'll praise it.
Praise it.
Yeah,
Praise it.
yeah, we'll praise
So
it.
We tend to take movies that have been declared bad by critics or IMDb ratings are under 6, and then we go through it scene by scene, which we'll do today. We'll walk through the entire movie, and then at the end, we'll give you our final determination whether or not we think it is, yeah, a good movie, a bad movie, or yeah, it's bad, but it rules, aka Bad Movie Rule, like the name of the show. You see how that works?
Hey, I get it now.
Yeah.
Oh.
So because of what you brought up, Joe, I want to jump straight into the vitals here because I think there's something that could maybe clear this up for you, hidden in that information.
Okay.
We have a very good director directed
Yes.
this movie, Walter Hill,
Yes.
which is his only comedy that he directed in his whole filmography. I know some people might say 48 Hours is a comedy, but it's not really.
Yeah.
It's a funny action movie, but it's an action movie first, wouldn't you say, 48 Hours?
Yeah, he got 48. He did 48 Hours, another 48 Hours. He did Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis.
Another Last Man Standing?
He
Hell
did
yeah.
Bullet to the Head.
Bullet to the Head with Stallone.
Yeah.
So the guy literally made a lot of my favorite movies, except for this piece of crap.
Hey. Let's just
What?
take it easy.
I'm not going to take it easy.
Take it easy.
The best thing about this movie was the train in the outfield.
That was actually pretty awesome.
That was awesome. Everyone else can get the Steven Seagal trash can. Save the train. Dump
Save the train.
dump the team in there.
So Bob's top 3 is going to be 3 different cars of the train.
Yeah.
pretty much. So you're saying, Bob, this is like the rubber one, but now we're just going raw dog?
Yeah. Yeah. This is like no lube.
Like running a train in your outfield?
Yeah.
Usually,
It's like backing up.
we try to keep some kind of
So
suspense.
I'm sorry.
I know usually, but I suffered on Desert Heat for not doing that. So I'm just gonna. I got permission from James
it's
just
fine.
to keep
You know
going.
what? Go for it.
I'm drawing a line here in the table today. Because I am guaranteeing there is a line here.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see.
This was like backing up to a tree branch that didn't get shaved down.
Oh God.
Backed up to a tree branch.
Like
It's
bending-
exactly like
I don't even know what that means.
Bending
stump?
over and just ramming yourself
stump.
into a tree branch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, a movie was written by
analogy,
George
Bob.
Barr McCutcheon. There's 3 writers on this.
How graphic.
Herschel Waingrod and Timothy Harris. Movie starred Richard Pryor. John Candy, his 3rd movie we've done on here, I think, right? Because we did Armed and Dangerous and Nothing But Trouble.
And I forgot John Candy was in this.
Yeah. Oh, there
my
you go.
gosh.
Lynette McKee and Stephen Collins, along with a few others I'm sure we'll touch on as we go through. The budget for this movie was $15 million. It's 15.
He spent it in 15 days.
What's interesting about this is we've got a movie coming up at the beginning of July for Good Movies Rule, which is our spinoff show exclusively on Patreon. Is Ferris Bueller is our next, just to give you an idea of the difference in budget. They were made in similar times, right? This movie's budget was $15 million. They made Ferris Bueller for $5 million.
Wow.
A third of the cost. Which one do you think made more money?
Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, by a lot.
Yeah.
The box office for this was $48 million. So they did make a profit, but not what I would call a huge, rousing box office success.
Fair enough.
Movie currently sits on, based on its IMDb score, it wouldn't qualify, but it qualifies because of its critics rating. So it's 6.5 on IMDb.
How is this possible?
People love this. So I'll get into this in a second after I read the Rotten Tomatoes scores, but I've got an opinion on that too. Rotten Tomatoes, so the critics said it's a 35%. That they didn't say that. Like people think Rotten Tomatoes gives its own score. Like, oh, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't know anything.
Rotten Tomatoes sucks.
It's just an aggregate of the critics' ratings. They just compile all the ratings from the critics.
Yes.
And give it a percentage. 35% of critics liked it. Therefore, 65%. That's not math. Is that right? That's math. 65% of critics hated it, right?
Yeah.
And even the audience score is rotten, you guys. 56% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So just slightly more than half the people liked it. So it's interesting that on Rotten Tomatoes, it's a lower audience score than the IMDb.
I'm going to Captain Marvel this movie and review.
I'm amazed by how many people love this movie. I didn't see this in the 80s when it came out. It's one of these that I got to assume the people that love it, it's fueled by the nostalgia of their childhood. Because when we put this on the Patreon, you're right, up against Lone Wolf McQuade and Pitch Black and some of these other movies, people were commenting. The patrons were commenting, oh my gosh, it's got to be Brewster's Millions. This is a fantastic movie. This movie's incredible. Guys like Dave Parkinson, I remember specifically, were on there just talking about how awesome it was, and some of the other guys, right?
Was he drinking the bad water in Australia?
I don't know what he's doing down there in Australia. I know they're on the underside of the world. Maybe it's just he's been upside down too long.
Yeah.
And that's why, it's all
Everything outside wants to kill him. He's got a different look on life.
Being upside down, all the blood's rushed to his brain.
That's what I'm saying.
So he's thinking.
Maybe that's what it is.
That's true.
He knows what he's talking about.
But yeah, it's beloved. It's beloved, but not universally, because again, 56% from audience score.
What do they know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're gonna see. I think, like you're saying, if it's a 50%, it seems like across the audience, maybe it's gonna be 50% here at this table of 4 people. I don't know. We'll see as we go through.
There's a line.
There might be.
I think there's a line right there.
Right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
Bob and I are on this. I'm not really.
I think the brothers have a certain opinion, and this other gents have another.
It's interesting that you already think you know what I think about.
Oh, you think that I know that I thought you once? Touche.
Fair enough. Well, look, I appreciate everybody that's listening. And if you're one of those patrons that voted for this and you're a little concerned by the opening of this episode.
Screw you.
Tough. We appreciate that you guys listen, that you voted, that the people that are out there that maybe love Brewster's Millions stick with us, because I'm sure some of us are going to have positive things to say about it, even though some of us obviously don't. Bob.
Him. I pointed across the table for all our audio listeners.
I'm going to go to each and every one of your mother's house and slap her ass.
And, that's actually a perk for Patreon. If you'd like, if you sign up for the $100 tier on Patreon, Bob will go to your mother's house
and slap her ass.
Slap her ass. So go to patreon.com.
Only once. Only once. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
/bad movies, patreon.com/bad movies rule. And they're all dealt kinds of different tiers. Even at the lowest tier, though, even at the $3 tier, you can get access to Good Movies Rule, which is our spinoff show. At increasing tiers, you can vote on movies like the guys did here for Brewster's Millions, and you can submit awards to the show to be part of the awards section every episode. And there's all kinds of benefits. We are a listener-supported show. We don't, as you see, we don't hear any ad reads. The listeners support what we do, and we love each and every one of you guys. And so thank you. If you want to be part of that, again, it's patreon.com/bad movies rule. Last thing I'll bring your attention to is if you do want to reach out and email the show, maybe to tell Bob how stupid he is for hating Brewster's Millions, or just because you want to suggest some movies or anything, you can email the show at thisshowisttrash@gmail.com.
Yeah, make
Bob,
That's right.
you are
CC him on that one.
wrong. Wrong. You suck.
Yeah.
Love
Send.
Chris Cordray.
Perfect.
That explains it.
Perfect. Well, guys, do you want to just dive into this movie right now and we'll
Let's
get this
do
thing
it.
rolling?
Yeah, I'll get the trash can, throw it in, and we can go back home.
Oh, okay, perfect. You're ready to go. But your favorite character's in the first scene.
The train.
The train. So we got to get into this. All right. So those of you who don't know, a brief synopsis. This is Brewster's Millions, a.k.a. How to Lose 30 Million in 30 Days.
Yep.
A.k.a. the Nick Cage story. This is what you were telling me right before we started recording, Mel.
Yes.
The 20th time they've made this movie.
They've made at least 11, like in mainstream cinema.
Crazy.
There's ones that are made in India and Japan and stuff. This has been made everywhere multiple times.
Why?
It all stems from an old story. It's like a fable almost.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
It's an old story from like World War II era. Is the original book it was written in.
Okay. So this is one. Now it hasn't been remade since the 80s, but at this time,
yes,
it has been
in Japan.
Oh, in
Yeah.
Japan. Okay.
Hi.
So this is one of a long line of people adapting the book into a movie.
Correct.
Which is about this guy who inherits a bunch of money that he has to spend before he can get the real inheritance.
The stipulations to make you feel what it's like to have to do it.
Got it. To make you hate it. So
Right. Yeah,
we'll go through that. So right off the bat in this movie, we start off in a minor league baseball stadium home to the Hackensack Bulls. And I called bull crap immediately off. I mean, I'm really watching this movie and I just went bull
You ever
crap.
been to New Jersey?
That's all they have, man.
sucks.
It's not about the fact like, no way Hackensack has a minor league baseball team. That's not what I called BS.
Kenosha has one.
It was because they're like, Richard Pryor is a 45-year-old relief pitcher in the minor leagues.
You ever watch some minor
Bull
leagues?
crap. I've watched minor league games. First of all, is this an unaffiliated minor league team? Because all they keep talking about is, are people from the majors going to see us? Is anybody going to come? Most minor league teams are affiliated with a major league team. That
Not
would be
all of
the
them.
only team that could come and get them and pull them up.
Well, your AA, your AAA, sure, but I mean, then you got the Savannah Bananas.
The Savannah Bananas, I love those guys. I've seen their
awesome.
TikToks.
They're
Yeah.
unaffiliated.
They're hilarious. All right, so I'm assuming it's an unaffiliated team. But Richard Pryor, when he made this movie, is 45 years old.
Okay.
That's way too old to be a minor league relief pitcher.
He played a younger
Or
guy.
he's not even a relief pitcher. He's a starter.
He's a starter.
Yeah.
Which is even stupider.
To the
I know he's trying to play a younger guy, but
does
he
he try
doesn't
to-
pull it off, is what I'm
Listen,
saying. It's
Oh,
so
why not?
obvious.
Is it the mustache?
Did you see his face?
Are you
He's
hating on it?
wrinkly.
I don't care. It's the mustache.
Black was cracking that day.
No, he was on crack.
Are you hating on the mustache?
I wasn't hating on the stash.
That was a pretty sweet stat.
If he lost the stash, he would look even older. I feel like you'd see more of his wrinkly face.
I don't know about
He was a little
that.
wrinkly.
Tell you what, if you hit the weights,
man.
you too could be a 45-year-old minor league pitcher.
Here's how I know you could tell, because I didn't know how old Richard Pryor was. I just looked at him and I went, bull crap. I pulled out my phone and looked up how old he was. And so I knew just visually,
John Candy was 35 in that movie.
right, which is still a long in the tooth baseball player. But, look at like the age that Kevin Costner was when he made Bull Durham, who was like
Yeah.
a long in the tooth, like, why are you still in the league kind of baseball player?
Yeah.
And he was in his mid 30s.
Or for love of the game.
45.
And
And it looks ridiculous.
It's a heartwarming story of a man that didn't want to give up his dream.
Clearly.
They just never
Clearly.
covered that part.
You
he got to play
put,
15 years.
Let me tell you this. You put
So
two
he
of the-
started playing when he was 30?
Yeah.
You put two of the funniest guys in the 80s in a PG movie.
Yeah.
First mistake.
Okay.
That's mistake number one.
Okay.
Second mistake was hitting record on
Yeah.
the cameras.
Yeah, that was number 2.
Jeez.
And then releasing it. I'd rather have watched
I'm
the
glad I'm-
Fantastic Four from 1992.
I'm sitting on
Yeah,
this
you
side of the
would.
table.
I wouldn't
Oh
do
my
it.
gosh.
Predator sucks.
What does that have to do with anything?
That's
Yeah.
Just because you said it was good.
Yeah. Stupid movie.
All right, so Special
Those guys
Agent
were way
Johnson
too
comes
old.
up to bat and
Yeah, Balrog from
how many
Street
times
Fighter.
so this Grandel Bush is the actor. He comes up to bat against Richard Pryor looking about, I don't know, 30 years younger than he is.
Doesn't matter.
And it does matter.
No, it doesn't.
And what happens is, how many movies? He was in
Die Hard,
Die Hard? No, but I mean that we've covered. So he was in Street Fighter.
Street Fighter, Predator.
And he was in Free Jack. He was
Free Jack.
Boone in Free Jack. And then he was in another one, too.
League of Their Own.
Oh, really? Who was he in League of Their Own? All the Way May?
That little kid.
Stillwell?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
Stillwell Angel.
Got it.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not going to fact check you, but our people at home can do that. Special Agent Johnson comes up to bat takes 1 yard on him
Foul.
a couple times first. Yeah.
You feel like a real piece of shit, don't you?
Yeah, so was that your favorite line in the
That's
whole
my
movie?
favorite line. I love it.
Talking about
Mine was
John
the wife,
Candy.
the wife one. That's
Shut up,
towards the
Porky.
end.
Yeah.
John Candy's banter with the, especially when it gets later on in the show, in the episode.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite parts.
No, he's great, and
It's wonderful.
and the 3 times I laughed in the movie, 2 of them were during catching scenes with
Yep.
John Candy.
Yep.
You should have been at our Little League game this morning.
So for those of you who don't know, Mel coaches a little league team and
Yes.
came straight from a ball game this morning.
And we've been working with the pitchers and the catchers. And I showed him this film. So we want to get our catcher talking. He's kind of quiet.
Perfect. Look, man, you got to psych him out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? When these how old are the kids in your league?
12 to 14.
All right, so
Perfect. Perfect age.
12-year-olds walk up.
They
to
got
the
mouths
plate.
on them.
You got to
stink at
You got to
Fortnite.
talk some crap,
Right. Absolutely.
right? Be like, man, yeah, that's it. Exactly.
It's a head game. You got to get in the head.
Suck it for
Bro, how many crown wins you got in Fortnite
Yeah,
this
man.
year? You suck at that. I'm cracked at Fortnite. You probably can't even edit.
Yeah.
Hey, tell your mom to pick up extra juice boxes. I'm coming over.
So, dude, I bet you're going to start winning more games.
It's our first win today.
Hey.
After Brewster's Millions.
Congratulations to the, what's the name of your team?
Oh, I'm not mentioning it on here. Oh, thanks to John Candy.
Thanks to
Good
John
influence.
Candy. All right. To the Antioch Bulldozers. They got a lot of fat kids on their team. All right.
Damn right they do. Nothing wrong with that. You keep eating, boys.
The Angels of St. Mary's School of the Blind.
Oh, I'm going to start a yoga class for blind children just to see how funny it would be to just watch them fall over.
Bob. All right. So as the game is going on, a frickin' train starts to come through the outfield.
That's
And
great.
I have a lot of questions about
Bob,
this.
an actual train.
Yeah.
Like it comes through the wall,
That was a toy train.
crosses center field, and goes out the right field wall.
Yeah.
And my first thing I said is, okay, which of these, because it's bad either way, but which of them came first? Like, was the train there and they decided to build a baseball field where the frickin' train was?
Yeah.
Or was there already a baseball field and the train people were just like, we can't go around. we got to go straight through.
It costs too much in tracks.
Cost way too much.
Right.
Tear the wall down. Which do you
What's
think
the shortest
came first?
distance? Straight line.
That's right.
I'm going to go with they got a good deal on the land.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so the train was already there.
Hackensack sucks.
Yeah.
So the baseball
The taxes
park
were
people
good.
were standing there and going, I think we can get most of the outfield in place
Sure.
I'm going to go with
before
that.
the train tracks. And they get there and they're like, oh, crap.
It's probably not a primary train tracks. You're not getting a Metra or an Amtrak going through there.
I would hope not.
It's just one of those little side tracks that they use for
Comes out like Bob Steele.
exactly where
Okay.
they deliver some large freight.
Oh, well, then that makes it okay.
Yeah, so it's not like a primary line.
Because I feel like the biggest issue isn't even the interruption of the train. It's guys trying to
God.
shag a fly ball and turn
Yeah.
it an ankle
Yeah.
because they're tripping and cracking their ankles on this track.
Curbing themselves
I'm saying.
on the edge of the tracks.
At the game at the end, there was a dude running over the tracks
Yeah.
going for a fly ball, and I was like, oh my God. Ankles would just be shattered all over the
tripping
place.
all over the place.
Tripping all over, man.
And I was always told not to play on the train tracks.
No, and especially not baseball,
Right.
right?
Technically is illegal.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, so they lose the game, and the guys all go to a bar afterwards to meet up with these girls.
Wait, they lose the game or win the game?
No, he won.
They won the game.
I
Yeah,
just
he was the
assumed they
winning-
lost because he
was the winning
sucked.
pitcher.
They won the game. He did that pop-up fly pitch.
I know, I remember.
Oh, the stunt double did, or
the knuckleball.
Richard Pryor did?
No, he
Davis?
knuckleballed. He knuckleballed him.
Whatever it is.
Strikeout. They win
He
the
won.
game. I'm just seeing if you guys actually watched the movie.
Yeah.
They go to the bar afterwards to celebrate. There was these girls that they're shown a couple times in the stand.
Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, please
Can I
jump
say?
on. Yeah.
I want an observation point because again,
Yes.
I'm one of those guys, part of this cast that loves to look at the background and find little weird things. When they first get to the bar, there's that couple. The man and woman, that first.
Okay.
I think that thing, something was drinking. And that lady had some hands.
Old man
Go
hands.
back. No hands that could Hands like a crack a lobster.
Could choke a rhino.
Choke a rhino. I mean,
Choke out a snake.
she was holding, she had the whatever drink, and it was just like wrapped around, you know, 3 times.
Yeah, that's hot.
And it was just like, takes a big drink, and I'm like,
How do you think he feels?
Yeah, right. He probably feels terrible.
it does.
He pulls a muscle every time.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know. I just caught that.
No,
I'm
that's
like, wow,
good. Go back and watch Lady with Man Hands in Brewster's Millions. It's the 5th most interesting thing that happens in this movie.
Was she wearing boxing gloves?
No, they were actual hands. They were fingers. There was digits.
And he's a connoisseur of giant fat hands too, right?
What?
You are. You're the one that's got the giant freaking hams on the ends of each ear.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Everyone knows Joe has huge fists.
you do.
Look at these things.
Your fists are
My
mad.
hands are going to be under the table now.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's a
Swinging
wonderful
around
thing.
a couple Christmas hams every time
Your fists are magical.
Seriously, dude.
What can my fists do?
It's like a globe on
Look
the end
at-
of a stick.
You can pick up things. You can make things work with your hands.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The things that you do.
I know for a fact this isn't the first time you've heard this. We've talked about this before.
Yes, in private amongst friends, not.
Oh,
in
this
front
is
of
not supposed to be a public
tens
thing.
of listeners.
All right, sorry. His meat cleaver hands. We shouldn't talk about them anymore.
Ladies, he's taken.
Listen, they're spam cans with 5 cans of things coming out of it. That's what they are.
What do you feed him every day?
Awesome.
All right, so the girls,
Sausage.
they meet up with these girls at the bar.
There's girls
and
in this
they're-
movie?
They're hitting them. There's a couple that we can be sure about.
Now I'm self-conscious about my
They're
hands.
beautiful.
We're giving them compliments.
We're giving them compliments.
I don't know.
High five.
No, I don't want to.
Careful, you
I'll
break
kill
your
you.
hand. These girls are hitting on him, and it's Richard Pryor and John Candy at the bar hitting on these 2 girls. And Richard Pryor is trying desperately to score and bring this girl home. And John Candy comes up to talk to the other girl.
About nude massaging.
Basically gives like a TED talk on the value of nude massage, right? And
There was a medical journal I was perusing in the locker room the other
The
day.
fact that both the guys were doing it at the same time.
right, exactly.
Hilarious.
They're just, he's like, and what I find is, and he's being very technical about it, that if you actually get a massage with clothes on, it actually does nothing. We've just been doing this massaging for nothing. And
the energy doesn't get through.
no, so, really only for it to be effective is it for it to be totally nude. So I was wondering if you and your friend would like to come back to the hotel and we
the
could
4 of us.
test
Test
the
out the
4 of
theory.
us and we could test out the theory.
I love this.
And it worked.
Yes.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
The girl was like, you know what? I like this idea. Let's
Yeah.
get going.
I'm going to test this out on
got
my,
a
on
car?
my wife and see if it works.
You got a car. We have a bus, and the 4 of them go like they're going to leave the bar and take these 2 girls home. And the other 2 ball players from the other team come
Yep.
in, and they're
Stillwell.
fiancés. Special Agent
happen.
Johnson.
You must be a really crappy boyfriend if they're really going after John Candy and Richard Pryor.
Right.
Yeah.
You're engaged, which we don't know until this moment.
Yeah.
But you were going to go home with these 2 guys.
Exactly.
But why were they traveling with him on the road? You don't take the
It was
the
just
action
for
on the road.
massages.
They're groupies.
platonic massages.
Oh, they just had sore backs.
yeah. Come on.
That's what it was. One of the only times I laughed. This was the third out of the 2 other times. Is when, as the guys come in, the girls run over to their fiancés and they go, these guys tried to pick us up, and Pryor just yelled, bullshit!
Perfectly timed.
Perfectly timed. It was hilarious. And of course, it starts a huge giant brawl. And
Yeah.
They all just start waylaying each other.
The whole bar erupts.
Right, but only 2 people go to jail.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What I really feel bad for
Spike and Monty.
is the furniture guy.
Again.
Once again. Does this trouble you? Is this why you hated this movie, Bob?
Remember Roadhouse?
Because once again,
No, I just feel bad
Furniture
for
is
that.
getting
Furniture's
destroyed.
getting destroyed. Poor quality furniture is getting destroyed. Some
stand
little Vietnamese kid is putting this furniture together down the.
Yep, and then you have to deliver it.
Some
then
poor
I-
furniture
that's why-
deliverer.
Some
Yeah.
poor guy down the river in Cluck Cluck, Vietnam.
Cluck, cluck. Just trying to make a quick penny for his mom, so he can get another shoe on her foot,
So that
so his baby brother's not born in a river full of crocodiles. He could be born in an actual hospital.
You ever been to Vietnam?
yeah,
Yeah, no, I have.
Oh.
Here is wonderful.
I was listening to the Travel Channel explanation here from Bob.
sounds like a nice place to go.
Right. We find out. All right. So Spike and Monty. I know we keep calling them Richard Pryor and John Candy, but it's Monty Brewster and Spike is John Candy's character.
Sure
They're
enough.
the only 2 that end up in jail until Jerry Orbach comes in. And he's like, nobody puts Monty in a corner, and goes to get them out of jail. Did you get it? Nobody
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Yep.
Jerry Orbach was the dad from
Dirty
Dirty
Dancing.
Dancing. Come on, guys.
Well, it wasn't considered racist because John Candy was in there with him.
That's right. That was
Which was another hilarious line.
Yeah,
was good stuff. I don't think because why are we the only two? Monty says, why are we the only two getting arrested?
Yeah.
John Candy says, well, I don't think it's racial because I'm also in here with you. You know. And Jerry Orbach, who's the coach of the baseball team, comes in and says, you know, we're not bailing you out. In fact, you're both fired.
So because the other team started the fight in the whole bar and some poor furniture guy has to redeliver all that crap.
Yeah.
So he gets fired.
So they get fired. They're like, look, you got to play ball for 15 years, which immediately that was like, what, he was 37 years old when he started playing
Did you
baseball?
get off of his age?
And it's ridiculous. It's the same thing when they put 40-year-olds as teenagers in movies and we all make fun of that, right?
It worked for Saved by the Bell.
Exactly.
It didn't work for Saved by
Zach
the Bell.
Morris. I don't care if he was 53.
I think he was in AARP.
He was.
Hey, Benchwarmers.
Benchwarmers.
Benchwarmers was great.
Benchwarmers was great.
Yeah.
Okay, but were they playing too old for themselves then too?
I think they wrote the short.
Golden Girls.
I mean, if they're making fun of Costner and Bull Durham for being too old to play baseball anymore, and then we're just supposed to give Richard Pryor a pass
Yes.
in Brewster's Millions.
what about the
Yes.
replacements?
Have him be the coach. If he was so obsessed with baseball, he could have been coaching a minor league team because he never got his shot as a player.
But
you
see-
don't have to say he's a player.
You let Keanu go in the replacements.
Exactly.
You said it was
Keanu
perfectly
was
fine.
But how old was Keanu in 1999? He just
40?
made The Matrix.
42.
I don't have my phone. Somebody look up what
I don't
year
have my
It
phone.
Keanu-
doesn't matter.
What year-
19.
Yeah, because you're wrong. That's why you don't want to look it up.
Right.
I'm gonna go with third.
If he was in his 30s, he's still at a reasonable age to play in the
36.
NFL.
He was 36 because he was 50 when he made the first John Wick.
Well, there you go. So 36 years old is
2014,
still in
2000,
the
yeah.
right, too old, in the right wheelhouse for the NFL. All right, so they get arraigned because they didn't get bailed out by their coach. They go get arraigned by this judge, who doesn't really seem to care much about what they actually did, but like was most upset that they were trying to pick up girls that were engaged to somebody else.
Guilty,
Yeah, what
but
is
I
up
got
with
a funny
that?
story for you.
Forget the fact that you had it at a bar fight. You were trying to pick up women
Who were involved?
who were involved. That's your biggest hang up,
what it
lady.
was.
Well, that girl was in Thriller.
Not
Wasn't
the
Was
fact.
she? No, she.
wasn't the girl that he was trying to pick up?
No, that
the
was
same
Michael
girl?
Jackson. What are you talking about?
No, the girl that was in Thriller, not Michael Jackson. The one
Oh,
he was
the
walking
other
with,
girl.
the one he was trying to pick up in the movie theater.
Oh yeah,
He
that was the
walked
judge.
home.
That was the judge from Brewster's Millions. Yes.
Not the
No.
judge. The girl
The
that
girlfriend.
the girlfriend.
player.
He was talking
that
about
he
the
was trying
girl
to
in the
pick
bar
up.
that
I'm
they were
pretty sure
trying to
The
go
girl in
home
the
with.
bar.
Yeah. Wasn't that the girl from Thriller?
I'm confused. Aren't we in
No.
the court now?
Was she?
Joe, we're in the courtroom now.
Let's
I
go
mean, she
back.
got some Coke bottles on her eyes. That's for sure.
All right, so the lawyers call Monty and Spike, and this guy that was taking pictures of him steps up in court and says, "We'll bail him out because there's a lawyer that wants to see him." And so Monty is assuming, "Oh, it's a scout. A scout. I told you this guy's been taking pictures of me."
That guy looks like
From
a
the-
scout for
from
the
the
Cleveland
again.
Alligators.
The Cleveland Alligators.
I was going to go with the Cleveland Steamers, but they would have a train in the outfield.
They would have a
Cleveland
train in
Steamers.
the-
That's right. I thought they just have a bunch of like carpet cleaning vacuums.
And at
would
halftime,
be
we
it.
all just crap on each other's chests.
Okay.
Bob.
Does baseball have a halftime?
Yes.
What's it called?
It's called halftime.
Okay, I just wanna
That's
make
like
sure.
literally what it's called.
Yeah.
After 5.5 innings, they take a halftime.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So they go into this lawyer's office and the lawyers are like, hey, he's thinking again of the scouts, but they find out that his uncle Rupert died. His only living heir was Monty Brewster. And Rupert was white and obviously Richard Pryor is not. And so he explains that, you know,
He took a lover.
he had a lover and whatever, however it worked. I didn't type it all out, but you're my only living relative. That's really the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting lost in the weeds on this
just
already.
get it out there.
Because
Makes
this
sense.
next 10 minutes is nothing but weeds. He explains this whole premise of, I've left you $30 million. If you can spend it all in 30 days, then you get the $300 million.
You can't have cars, assets, or
Nothing.
anything.
Yeah.
But there's so many loopholes in this stupid premise. It takes him 10 minutes just to tell him all the ways that he can't do it.
I thought it was like 2.5, but
Right.
what am I
It
saying?
felt like 10 minutes.
It felt like 10
I
minutes.
was had a good buzz going. I came out of my buzz.
There's Pat Hingle and these two other old lawyers there. Okay. Pat Hingle is not part of it. Like he's nothing to gain either.
I don't
way.
think the lawyers really sold it for me.
The lawyers were terrible.
Yeah, they were too young.
Way too young. Couldn't we find some older white guys?
I don't think Harvey Weinstein was around
Right?
back then.
They could have had Richard Pryor play those parts. He was old enough.
There you go. I was lobbing that one up for you. I was like, come on, James.
Just have
Come
him-
on, James.
Like Eddie Murphy would play multiple parts because he's actually a talented comedian.
oh my God.
And you would have him do like,
this was an Eddie Murphy, John Candy, Richard Pryor, and they just throw Wesley Snipes in there for good measure.
oh
This
my
would've been
gosh,
great.
Wesley Snipes, this would be his second best movie after Demolition Man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't. That was his greatest movie.
Right? It'd go Demolition Man, Brewster's Millions, then all of his other movies, then New
Majorly.
Jack City.
New Jack City's at the bottom.
bottom.
No, New Jack City is more of a
fun, guys. I'll see
New
you
Jack
later.
City is more of a Judd Nelson movie.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is.
It literally is.
Martin Van
We
Peebles or
are
something.
trolling so hard today. I'm sorry.
I love Mario Van Peebles and Jaws Revenge.
Lawyers say, all right, I do like that Uncle Rupert's video is like, you suck and I hate you. Here's $30 million.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of the tenor of the whole
Yeah.
thing.
I love how they
But-
put him in fishing gear.
He explains the reason he's. I know, right?
All the outfits.
I'm going fishing, boy.
fishing.
My emphysema.
They locked me in a closet with all those cigars.
What was that actor's name?
I don't know.
Because he's been in a ton of stuff for a long time, and I couldn't remember what his name was. But we don't do research on this show, so he's the
Nah.
guy from Cocoon. That's all you need to know.
Cocoon
Bingo.
or the Burbs?
Or batteries not included. I think it was in that
Critters.
too. Critters.
Yeah.
Batter's not included. I
Sure.
think that's the one I remember
sure.
him from.
But regardless of all of that, the reason he says he's making him spend this money in such a short amount of time before he can get his inheritance is he wants him to hate spending money so much that when he gets it, he won't spend it.
Makes sense.
And he says when he was a kid, his father used to lock him in a closet and make him smoke all of the cigars.
Well, no, he was
Or he
caught-
stole. He got caught.
He got
stealing.
caught smoking.
Got caught smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
So his father, locked him in the closet and we gave him a box of cigars and said,
Right. Not
"You
abusive
got to
at all.
smoke them all. Yeah, you got to smoke all these,
Different times.
and that'll make you never want to smoke cigars again."
Right. And he says it
Tough
worked.
love.
Tough love.
And
Yeah.
gave him emphysema.
That's the reason he's
Clearly he
also.
didn't stop
That's
smoking the
exactly
cigars.
the reason why he's got lung cancer.
It was a lesson I never forgot because it's killing me right now.
All right, so not to like drive this super serious, but
Yeah.
think about this.
Yeah.
Think about NFL players. They get this big multi-million-dollar contract.
Yep.
5 years after they're out of
College,
you know,
not even, yeah.
they're broke.
Yep.
Yeah.
They spend. They live excess, and then they're broke.
Yeah.
Guys that win the lottery, same thing.
Yep.
A lot of them go
So
broke.
this whole thing, this whole premise is a genius premise.
It is.
That uncle or great uncle.
Well, that's probably the reason why it's been remade so many times.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it makes
is
sense.
A genius premise, but that's not many issues that I have. I think as we said, there are some holes in the premise itself, which we can get to as we start talking about the ways he chooses to accomplish this goal, and if we could have accomplished it in much easier and quicker fashion.
He
than
was just a
did.
big fan of Reagan's trickle-down theory.
Is that what it was? With no politics on this show.
Well, this how many years ago was Reagan?
Well, the trickle down joke is less political,
Yeah,
more.
it's called DOO economics, voodoo economics. Anyone know the effects? All right.
anyone. Bueller.
All right. So the last thing is he says, okay, you can't have any assets when you're done. By the time you spend this $30 million, you can't just go buy, spend the money and buy 1 million cars, and now you've spent the money and
It'd make it
'cause
easy.
Then you have the cars, right?
Right.
Every 2 weeks.
Yep. No assets.
So you got to come in at the end of 30 days with just the shirt on your back, and that's it. But there is a wimp clause where right now you can just take $1 million.
Yep.
That's it. It's yours. In 1985, that's
a lot of money.
Like probably $2.5 million now in today's money, and so he has to think to himself, all right, do I just take the money and be happy? A guy who clearly has nothing, or he's going to go for the $300 million.
Tell you what, I will exercise my wimp clause in the Bad Movies Rule contract right now
perfect.
and walk away for $1 million.
It's about a $350 is what you'd have there. About $3.50.
$350. Damn, not this Santa.
Well, there wouldn't be a movie made after you, so
That's true. So he goes for the money, and when I'm talking about the money, they open up this vault, and there's 3 pallets of cash in this room. That's a ton of money. If you got to
don't
Literally.
Yeah.
carry it in pallet form,
Yeah.
that's a lot of money.
I wonder what the actual like how much 30 million would be stacked up. Is it 3 pallets?
I don't know.
Probably
I feel like it's
three
not.
stacks in a briefcase. Like
No, it'd be huge. Having worked in the bank before, just knowing what a small portion of that looks like, it would be a huge amount.
So
of
it would
money.
be. It's
I
more
don't
of an
know if that's accurate. It would be 3 pallets, but it would be a pretty gigantic,
At least a pallet.
at least a pallet, if
Yeah.
not more.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Listeners, If every one of you sends us $100 bill, we will start loading up a pallet of money, and we will see how much exactly 300 million or 30 million.
And how many plane tickets to how many of your mother's house it'll buy for Bob.
Absolutely.
And we will promise that we will blow it in 30 days.
I promise you. Well, that's a guarantee. I'll sign it in blood.
We'll give your money back. Don't worry.
Right here. Yeah. Oh, sure. Tell them.
IOUs.
All right, so this is where we meet in the movie. We meet Miss Drake for the first time because the Pat Hingle and the lawyers have assigned Miss Drake to be his accountant to keep track of all the receipts so that they know exactly what all of this is. What all of this?
How you doing?
How are you doing? They know exactly how it's all accounted for, right? And the minute now, sometimes I watch these with my wife, and the minute she walked in the screen and Richard Pryor is already like trying to get with her like immediately, Dana out of nowhere just blurts, "Does he think she's attractive?" She looks like a 13-year-old boy.
Well, I don't know.
Dana. Well, I'm gonna say this. Well, I'm gonna.
I'm trying. What's your opinions on Miss Drake?
Not a fan.
No, I mean, first off, I need if that was my date.
Well,
if that's what I was doing for 30 days, I would be throwing pot roast, pig roast, some steaks at her, fatten you up, give me some cheeseburgers, Happy Meal specials.
Okay, Bob.
I mean, what else can we get? Jelly donuts, Bismarcks,
A cheesesteak,
Cheesesteak.
but like made out of just
brats.
cheese.
I would take her to the brat stop. We would fly all the way over here.
Be
Go
more
to
descriptive.
go to the brat stop.
Can we list some more foods?
Like we like them. We like them a little thicker in Wisconsin as well.
we like 'em
She
thicker.
looked like
She needs to eat some cheese.
She needs some cheese curds. Okay.
Cheese curds and Miller Lite. She doesn't have to
I'm
drink
getting a Miller Lite right
though.
now. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Are we allowed to drink Miller Lite still?
I was gonna say that she was kind of attractive until James
Her
described
bug
her.
eyes?
Hold,
Look
just
at her
shut up
eyes.
for a second. Until James described her as a 10-year-old boy. And I was like, wait a minute. Now I can't. You completely kill the ability to.
Because now if you're like, yeah, I thought she was kind of hot, I'd be like, oh,
exactly.
You into
That's why I was
13-year-old?
just like, you jackass, you.
Sorry. Okay, she was rather mannish, wasn't she?
Well, that's the padded shoulders of the 80s.
They all
that
look
what
like
that was?
men.
Yeah.
I thought she was white for a minute.
She's very light skinned, yes. But she is, in fact, actually, there's a couple of movies she was in that she looks fantastic in. So there's like the Cotton Exchange.
Yeah.
There was another one, I was going to say it's Sparkle or something like from 1976.
Yes, Sparkle.
Monty starts hiring people left and right.
Security.
Head of security. He gives a photographer, like that scumbag photographer that followed him around, 10 G's a week to be his photographer. He's buying personal drivers. He's bringing in all these people, and within minutes, a whole entourage is following him around.
Yep.
Everywhere. And
People on the street.
The first thing,
who's this guy?
right? And the first thing I'm asking is, why not just pay them more? Like he's like $3,000 a week to this guy, $4,000 a week to this, $10,000. Why not just do? I'm like, why not do 10? Why not do 20?
He had to get value out of him.
Well, 10,000 is already overpaying somebody. Then 20,000 is
He wanted to push it without stretching it.
okay.
Because he wanted to at least have fun for 30 days.
Who are you?
I don't know.
You had mentioned all these people start following him and stuff. Mm-hmm. Who are these people?
Groupies.
No, there's people on the side of the street.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are these people that are just like walking down, like you just got done going grocery shopping, and all of a sudden now you live in a hotel with this guy you followed down the street?
I would. Who? If he's like, hey, everybody that can hear me, free meals on me, and come stay with me at a fancy hotel.
That just sounds like
Done.
Yeah.
So it's a woman like calling her children that night, going, "I'm sorry, mommy's not coming home. I passed this guy in the street, and I have to live with him now, and I followed him wherever he's going."
Yeah.
She's saying, "Get over here quickly."
He's my savior.
You
We're
live
gonna
with
be rich.
grandma now, right?
Go live with grandma. By the way, I'm going to wake up the next morning without my kidneys.
No, I'm going to wake up without my kid.
I mean, did you not notice this was the entire premise for Mr. Beast?
Well, you think Mr. Beast modeled his life after
Brewster's Million?
Yeah.
No, he makes entertaining content. That's the difference.
Oh,
Man.
like Predator.
Like, yeah. Oh,
Stupid
oh.
movie.
I'm going to go get a beer.
We're gonna take Predator and line it up next to Brewster's Millions and think that's
I
an
would.
argument you're gonna win.
I would.
You line them up next to each other.
Toe to toe.
Okay, Richard Pryor versus Dutch.
Hands down.
If it was in,
Richard Pryor.
If the match was about baseball, Dutch would win.
Hold on. Let's hold our hands up here.
Yeah.
Look at that.
You see how nothing happened when you guys did it?
Nothing.
Nothing would happen if I did it either.
But he had his mustache.
But Dutch and Carl Weathers do it, and it sends a shockwave through the universe. Okay?
No, we got to get back to
this.
To Brewster's, the good movie hit that it is.
All right.
I mean, if John Candy and Richard Pryor did the Dutch and Carl Weathers thing, I think child support would be owned.
That's right. Instead of making women pregnant, he'd turn them all into lesbians.
Absolutely.
That'll happen.
Made him infertile.
Make them infertile.
Yeah.
This seems like a beer drinking.
All right, here we go. All right, so all these people, now they go to this hotel, to the Plaza. Not just a hotel, it's the Plaza. And they pay $2 million, is it?
Mm-hmm. To rent
Something
the
like
hotel.
that. To rent the top 2 floors for the next 30 days. And again, he's got to rent everything because he can't own anything. And so there were people that were going to, do it for a lot less money. They bumped those people out and let him into the hotel. Now, how into baseball is Monty Brewster? He just inherited $30 million, and all he's thinking about is how can I leverage this into getting back on my minor league baseball team? If I inherited $30 million, I would kiss my minor league baseball team goodbye and go off and enjoy my life, especially at 45 years old.
But he wants to pitch for the majors again. He says he can take.
I'm guessing he pitched for the Cubs and why he's wearing a Cubs.
Jamie
That's
Moyer
exactly what it
was like the only 45-year-old that ever pitched in the majors. Maybe I don't the one that I can remember from my lifetime.
Randy Johnson.
I think Nolan
was in his 40s.
Nolan Ryan went into his 40s too.
He went into his 50s.
Okay, is Nolan Ryan and Randy Johnson and Jamie Moyer the same as Monty Brewster?
Michael Jordan did it.
Who can't get anybody out in 3 innings?
Hey, what about Dennis Quaid from The Rookie in 2002?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was supposed to be like this magical unicorn.
Exactly.
Like he was a magical unicorn for accomplishing that.
Oh, talking about
and
it.
this is like, you guys are acting like it's totally normal for it to happen either way.
Hey, don't make me give up on my dream.
Yeah.
All right, so as I said, he's been
stepping on everybody's dreams over here, James.
What is your dream? To be a 45-year-old pitching for the Hackensack Bulls?
Hell yeah.
Maybe not Hackensack.
Most that guy ever made was 11 grand.
Did you not learn anything from Rocky Balboa?
What is it of the many lessons that we've learned from Rocky? What is it that we should learn?
Doesn't matter how old you are.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thanks, Bob.
Hit the button.
All right, so again, as we said, he's been working with Miss Drake for 20 minutes, and he's already trying to have sex with her, and he's already like, why don't you like me? Why don't you want to do it?
Fatten her up first, please.
And it's not going because apparently she's got a fiance, and so here we meet Warren.
I like he does have one line. I think it was about this time of the movie where it was if you don't make calls, you don't make any sales.
That's right. That's right.
Like, hey,
that's true.
John
calls.
Candy, yes.
Yes.
Very true. We find out that she's got this fiance, Warren, who played the dad in Seventh Heaven. That's the only thing I ever know this guy from.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I never watched it.
Yeah.
They have the same. So he comes in, and now he's standing next to Miss Drake, his fiance. They have the same haircut, the same glasses, and the same suit. I mean, maybe not the same suit, but they might as well. They looked like almost identical standing next to each other.
You know why?
Except for one was a woman, one was a man.
Yes.
For his entire life, he was told, go fuck yourself.
Check that first F-bomb.
Well played, Bob. Well
all right, we're
played.
not counting F-bombs because then you guys are just going to start dropping them just to get the count.
Nope.
No, we're not.
No, that was punny.
That was the only
right.
one we're allowed
No,
to do.
no,
in the
that was
show.
good.
Like a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
So she's talking about now he wants to meet Warren because he wants to get rid of Warren so he can get with Miss Drake. Okay.
Of course.
And so she kind of talks Warren up like, oh, you'll never be able to buy Warren. Not for money. He doesn't care about such things. But it turns out Warren's a bit of a whore for money.
Couple stacks of $100 bills.
He starts getting all flustered.
Makes the guy start drinking.
He's like, oh, I've got the vapors.
He's like, I don't drink.
I felt bad for that interior
Here's a bunch of
designer.
money. I'm an alcoholic now.
He's like,
What is that, Scotch?
I'll have a drink.
Scotch?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Perfect. He talks him into decorating his apartment for him along with his ex-wife. Now, that was a brilliant move by him to bring Warren's ex-wife in to be with Warren so he can get rid of the two of them and get back with Miss Drake.
tell ya.
So
Perfect.
the ingenuity there, I appreciate that.
It's the age.
We do get a fourth
wisdom
wall.
of the age.
Yes. The wisdom of a 45-year-old is evident.
Exactly.
For sure, because someone as young as, say, the 30-year-old he was playing.
Never would have thought about that.
Ever would have thought about that. We do get a random fourth wall break, which I hate. I hate when that happens. We closes the door after Warren leaves and turns the camera and goes, now that's a real asshole. Dead to camera.
Yes.
I don't mind it. Like, if you establish it early that this is part of the movie, like in Ferris Bueller, and we keep going back to Ferris. But right away, you're like, okay, he's going to talk to us through the whole movie. But when you don't do it the whole time and then you just randomly out of nowhere, it breaks the whole thing.
It breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah, well, it breaks not that, but the version of the story.
Has anyone ever broken the fifth wall?
No.
There is no such thing.
The only time that's ever happened again was when Dutch and Carl Weathers
True.
slapped their hands together, and it broke the sixth wall, actually.
A lot of pregnant women.
Bypassed the fifth wall.
That's right. Bypassed it, went right to the sixth one, broke that, and rubbed up against the seventh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Gave 8 to Chubby.
The eighth was like, oh, this is the coolest anybody ever got to me.
You could feel that earthquake all around the world.
Does the 8th have like a southern belle? Like a southern plantation owner?
I
Like,
guess it does, yeah. No one's ever broken through the eighth wall.
Kool-Aid Man.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, someone gonna rub up on my...
No, the wall that he breaks
My
is on the other
thigh.
side of the fourth wall, so that's just the third wall he breaks through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
To break the eighth wall, he'd have to come into your house first through the TV.
It's got to be your bowl.
That's right. Where the hell are we? All right. So ultimately, the old guys, the old lawyers that are too young to play those parts,
Mortimer?
get Warren to spy on.
Mortimer.
They get Warren to spy. Warren works for that firm, and they get him to spy on Brewster and try and trip him up. Right? Find a way to make it so he doesn't complete the task, because that firm is going to get the money if he fails.
Yeah.
And you know the plan is going to fail, because why would you trust? Like, you're going to trust Warren to do anything that would this boob. Is gonna like, you're gonna put your whole plan and all your stakes on him and be like, yeah, Warren, you take care of this for us, right? I wouldn't trust him to do anything. So of course it failed. Of course it failed. All right, let's take a break for a second here.
Reset.
Okay, how would you guys? All right, let's say you're in his shoes. Okay.
Okay.
You have the $30 million.
Got it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much of a plan. In fact, for most of this movie, for a guy who has only 30 days to spend $30 million, he's super lackadaisical.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you want to just spend half a day and go to lunch? I'm like, you could just spend that half a day and go spend some more money.
Yep. Can I say something, though?
Yeah.
He actually spent more than $30 million. He spent about $60 million.
Well, he made it back.
Because at one point in time, he made all his money back and brought him back to zero.
Right.
So it's everybody's like, oh, so I could spend $30 million. It wasn't 30, it was $60 million.
Right, but because he made stupid decisions that made money back for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's the other thing. Even after he found out he was making money unintentionally, he still was just kind of like not being super aggressive about spending money. I mean, he took like half a day to go try and go to lunch with this girl.
Yeah.
Here's my question.
$300,000 the guy rear-ended him.
Getting off the
Which was
track
smart.
here. How would you guys go about accomplishing this mission?
Easy.
Spending $30 million.
Private jet.
Rent it.
Rented. Yeah.
Yeah. Rent a private jet, fly all over the place.
Yep.
I would start a podcast.
That's a sinkhole of money right
They don't
there.
make any money.
Yeah. Just write it all off.
Just write it all off. Okay. Is that seriously what you would do?
No.
Okay. Well, then seriously, how would you go about? Because I think Joe's was a really good one.
Tell you what, $20,000 per hour for a
Bingo.
jet.
There you go.
Private jet.
For 30 days, do the math.
Dude, I would hire elephants to take me to work.
Why would you go to work?
Just waste more money. And then I'd hire people to carry me from my chair to the refrigerator. Okay, I'd have to pay a team of people that like carry me around on a platform.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I would hire so many
Like
people.
Jabba the Hutt, just a couple, just a bunch of people.
That's what I'm saying. You just payroll is the way you do this.
Yeah.
But just so many people. He wasn't thinking big enough. I know he hired some people, but just hire a ton of people to do a ton of things.
It'd be like the Coming to America.
Yeah.
You'd be in there in the morning. The rich man's penis is clean, sir.
I'd have dancers. I would have
royal
just
wipe.
people just dancing in every room of my house. Okay, I'd hire play-by-play guys to just commentate my life as I was walking
I
around.
would hire Morgan Freeman
That's what. Yes,
to narrate my life
this is what I'm saying.
for 30 days.
Just hire people.
Rehabilitated? Well, now I do believe. Me and Brooks used to train each other.
It'd just be just as awesome as hiring Al Pacino to call insurance companies for you.
That's right. Here's all I want you to do. I want you to go through the phone book, and I just want you to call all these insurance companies.
They're trying to get money from me and just try to get them not to.
You know what? You got to get value,
She
right?
had a big ass.
And you had your head all the way up it.
So we got to have value, right?
Yes.
So sticking with the podcast idea, we get Arnold in here for third mic.
Yeah, how much
That
does
would
Arnold
cost at least $30 million.
Not 30, but a good chunk. And then you just get like 10 more episodes with really high-paid celebrities.
Right.
You're done.
And
you don't end up with an asset after you book a big name like that.
we fire the patrons.
Dude, we make a shitty movie.
Oh my god!
That's all you got to do. You hire Tom Cruise, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all these guys that don't cost $20 million a piece.
Exactly.
And then you make the worst movie ever, and you never release it.
Napoleon Dynamite 2.
Wait. Not even that. Not even that.
Yeah.
Even better than just have hire all these guys.
Yeah.
To do a play.
To do a play.
To do.
Well, people pay tickets for
No tickets.
No
Free.
ti- no
Community
ti-
theater.
It's community theater, all free.
dude. Absolutely. Or yes, any of these would be perfect.
Yeah.
Done. Because even at the end, you film it, you'd be like, burn it. You like, I'd burn the tape. It's gone. I'm sorry.
But you can't destroy. Can't destroy.
Well, the hard drive, I stepped on it.
Well,
No. If you just paid all these guys, do like a backyard play of Rumpelstiltskin.
Backyard.
with Chris, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
No ad revenue. Nobody can advertise. Can't have on TV because people make ad money.
No.
Right?
Just Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Cruise.
I love it.
You gotta throw
Bradley Cooper.
You got to throw Chris Pratt in there.
Chris Pratt.
You get the big four action icons. That's all you got
and
to
you
do.
put them in a musical.
Yep.
You remake American Ninja the musical with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and
Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren,
Dolph.
and put them in the remake of Hamilton.
that's it. And make Hamilton. I want to be in the room where it happens. All right, let's go.
about Hamlet?
I'm not going to miss my shot. I'm not going to miss my shot.
Oh, Hamlet. The vampire has taken the city. Remember that?
You Claudius.
That's right.
You killed my father.
To be, well, not to be. Not to be.
See, there we go. We figured it out,
Great,
guys.
perfect. We could actually just make Hamlet happen from Last Action Hero.
Seriously, we could.
That would be it.
Because the Jets won't actually do it. I did some math on the Jets. So 20,000 an hour,
Okay.
24 hours, 30 days. It's 14.4 million.
Okay,
Get
so we go
halfway.
So
bigger.
you only got halfway.
How much money can you think it costs if we can get Aaron Rodgers railed by a donkey?
Oh, that's going to
Oh,
cost
that's
at least $500
doesn't take much these days.
I mean, you got to get a U-Haul trailer and
for the donkey. That costs
Drive all the way
that
down to
costs $200. $200.
I mean, you're gonna have to,
And
you're gonna have
gas
to
and
stay at
trailer.
Best Western.
Best Western costs at least $150 a night. So, I mean, you can get out there for $3,000. I think. Yeah, I think so.
It depends on the.
Penicillin.
I love a good donkey show.
Okay, well, all these people are there. Monty,
This is probably the stupidest episode I've ever been on.
we have to do this. We had no choice.
We have a movie
Because there's
here.
not much to talk about within the actual movie.
There's nothing to talk about in the
There's
actual
nothing. We're
movie.
we're
You just
literally
spending money
bullshitting.
trying to boink a girl. That's it.
We're just recapping. All right, so he goes in and he's now in his office, and again, there's people everywhere. He's hired. Here's the one thing I wouldn't hire is a mimic. Okay, I know everybody loves
Oh, okay,
Rick
yeah.
Moranis.
I'm so glad that he was in it.
Yes.
But at the same time, I was so glad he was gone.
I think, is he going to be here the rest of the movie?
I was like, I don't want that. I
can't-
want this.
I can't do that.
I don't want it, please.
But he
But
goes
thank
in, and there's all
goodness.
these guys pitching like these different ideas to him. One guy was like, going to ship ice to the desert.
Yep.
for
I'm
ice for desert farmers.
That's
Sounds
a
expensive.
Pretty
Go
good
for it.
investment. I feel like that was a pretty good investment, and it actually worked out. I think he made money off that deal.
He
That was
did.
one of the
Sadly,
deals
yes.
he made money off of. And here's what I don't understand, given the fact that he made so many terrible decisions. I think the only reason he had to get rid of $60 million is because he was so stupid in how he went about doing this. Right? Why on earth would Morty hire a financial advisor? Because that was the thing that started making him money.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Some of his ideas.
Some of his ideas, along with Spike, who again he can't tell any of his friends that he's trying to blow this money, and so
Spike's trying to do all this out of the kindness of his heart.
Spike's trying to make him money because he wants to help his friend. Miss Drake hates him because he's blowing all his money, and he's mad he can't tell her.
Yeah, he just is
Right?
a-hole.
He rents his old minor league team and starts flying them around, like literally flying around, ride the bus, fly back, come back across, ride the bus.
He's trying to spend the money.
to set up this exhibition game with the Yankees. They're going to play 3 innings
Yeah.
against the Yankees.
He couldn't get the band to be on the actual tarmac. That's why they had to fly him out to there
Right.
so they can have the band playing and then fly back to the airfield.
Just hire some strippers. Like, you know how fast the money would go,
Dude.
like for your team.
Yeah, but the strippers for a minor league team, I mean, you're talking $20 a pop. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not really.
All right.
This movie would have been better with strippers.
How many? I mean, you need a lot of them, though.
That's a lot.
The one
30 million divided by 20.
I know. Is there that many?
we have
minor
to
league
ship. You have to
strippers there?
ship some in from Maine.
Oh,
You could probably
yeah, they do have a big.
save some money off of Grass Lake Road.
That's true. Get them from Antioch, Illinois.
Blarney
there's
Island.
we do have
Blarney Island, you could get at least 30.
at least.
At least 30.
Yeah.
From chest to the floor all day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you're
Dragon.
stuck with 18 years.
I tell you, we should. That's a good business. Just transporting.
Yeah, in
Strippers?
U-Hauls.
Yeah.
Human trafficking?
No,
That's called human trafficking, Joe.
Oh.
willing, and they're getting paid.
No,
No, that's not how that works.
So you're
But there's
talking about pimping.
Yeah. Well, kind of.
Also illegal.
But I'm just saying it could be a good, valid service. There's some areas of this country who don't have enough prostitution. Can I get a Bob on that one?
Joe.
I'm trying to one up him over here.
All right, so the one genius move he does, man, I'll give him credit for this one, is he goes and buys the world's most expensive stamp
Yes.
and then
Again.
mails it on a postcard. Man.
He didn't
Only
destroy it.
an old guy would know how to do that.
An upside down airplane.
It also, at the same time, I was like, it is kind of terrible thing to do because he ruined this priceless thing that was very, very rare.
It was stupid. It's a
You know,
stamp.
I understand, but it
Gives
was
a
the
crap
most
about a stamp.
priceless, precious stamp there was.
It still exists.
It still exists.
If it wasn't made,
yeah, but it's not worth anything anymore.
If it wasn't,
Oh, it's still worth something.
Oh, yeah. Somebody would. In fact, it may be worth more now that a billionaire or a millionaire
Bingo.
Mailed it.
he mailed it.
All right, so they go down. This is what you were mentioning to before, Bob. They go down on the street, and Monty's trying to take Miss Drake to lunch and ends up getting rear-ended by a con man who clearly did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Pays him off for $300,000, and Miss Drake is letting him have it on the sidewalk. And we see Warren upstairs with his ex-wife, who's up there decorating the apartment, looking down, starting saying like, "Oh, how tasteless! Oh, unforgivable! What a slut!"
I could not.
They're just talking on the sidewalk.
Right. They're just talking.
In fact, she's chewing him out.
Yeah.
And they're up there going, "Oh,
I think 'cause they had their hands on each other, like her arms on each other or something. Maybe I don't know.
She was grabbing him to yell at him in his face.
But I couldn't stop looking at his ex-wife's lipstick. That thing was shiny.
Marilyn,
Yeah.
she was from Walking Dead, dude. Did you
Really?
recognize her
I did
from
not-
Walking
yeah,
Dead?
she looked very familiar.
One of the mayors.
She was of Alexandria when they first
Yeah.
got there. Remember there was that like middle-aged woman
Oh,
that
the
ran
short
the
one?
place, the short one?
Yep.
That's her?
That's her.
Oh, awesome. This movie just went up 2 points.
See, Bob?
Yeah,
I
man.
did not know that.
That's
What
it.
happened to her face then?
She got old. That's what happened.
No, a frying pan.
Oh. All right. So it
No, you took it away.
Oh, hold on.
I don't even know. I can't even tell.
1, 5.
I don't know how to
That's
work this
2.
thing.
finally
5.
finally it dawns on Monty. How can I blow a ton of money with nothing to show for it? Politics. Hey. Genius.
It's genius.
Right? He's like, I'll run for mayor. And did you notice at the first press conference that Roy Munson's landlady was with the reporter?
Yeah.
That
She
talked
was
to him.
good looking.
Back in the day,
I looked at her like, whoa.
I was like, that was the lady from
Oh
Kingpin.
my gosh.
I think they had to
My
throw
brother
some
and I were
makeup on
watching
her
it.
in that
He
movie.
did the same thing. He's like, man, she looks really familiar. I just turned to him and went, ha. He's like, oh my God, that
They had to
is.
throw some makeup on her in Kingpin. 'cause-
She was also the old lady in Something About Mary.
but she looks better like now
Magda.
too. Like she looks really she looks like a lovely person. Like
when she's not. Yeah, we see her in Dumb and Dumber. She looks like a normal person. She owns
well,
the
right,
dogs
yeah.
in the
But
beginning.
Kingpin, she looked like they I don't know.
They did her
made
dirty in that.
Terrible.
They did her dirty.
That
no
was
pun
good.
intended.
A good job on their
That
part.
always made Dad laugh.
Oh, he thought it was
he
the
fell out of
worst.
his chair.
When he's
at
just
that
puking in the toilet.
Hello,
we get to do-
darkness, my old friend.
We get to do Kingpin sometime. That'd be awesome.
Now we have patrons like this.
Oh, Carl, be nice to them. They don't know. And not all and also not all of
can't
them
read.
Not all of them voted to,
Yeah, because they couldn't find the button because they can't read.
No, not I was saying not all of them voted for this movie. It was split. I mean, between a few of them.
it was
right?
wide
It was
split,
very
yeah.
close.
Give
Actually,
me their names. I could get. What was it?
I think
Chris
Pitch
Cordray?
Black-
Was it Chris Cordray?
No, Pitch Black lost only by one vote.
It was the short bus kid, isn't it? He voted for this.
Lone Wolf
pilot.
McQuaid. Eric?
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah, he would vote for this.
Probably.
To watch me suffer. He's one of those wrestling marks. I hate the new WWE Championship. It's so stupid.
All right.
Nah, nah, nah.
Wow.
So the first, Monty Brewster's platform for running for mayor is his whole platform is that politicians are assholes and no one should vote for anybody.
Amen.
Amen. God bless. Finally, they're saying this in the 80s.
Vote none of the above. That's what he wants people to do.
Yep.
Vote none of the above. And the money really starts to fly out at this point. I mean, it's rolling because you're blowing money.
Oh, it's
and you're not
expensive.
getting anything back until unless you win the election.
How much would $30 million worth of cheesecake look like?
It would be about the same size as those pallets of money.
Oh, you beat me to it. I was like, about 3 pallets.
About 3
About
pallets.
3 pallets of cheesecake.
Just replace that. And it was right around this point in the movie where I actually said that. I was like, what this movie needs is a visual. We're well into the movie, and there's no gauge for how much he spent at this point.
No running ticker or anything.
Yeah.
Like,
But
the
didn't they
movie
gauge
should
it
have-
with the palette disappearing?
Not until this point in the movie.
Really?
During the montage, his political montage, where they're just really what happens. They start showing the palette going up and down.
Yep.
And I'm like, we needed that this whole movie.
Yeah.
And they never go back to it again.
The second he took the money out of the bank and went to get lunch, they should have started showing the money going
Should have just started going it up, and then when we made money, have it come back up or whatever. But give us a running tally. Otherwise, we have no idea.
They fixed that when they did.
You know what made this movie a lot funnier?
when you talk over me?
Chevy Chase. That too. I'm sorry. My apologies. I'll stop talking. I'll stop
All
talking.
right, but hold on. I want to hear what you had to say.
No, no. They fixed that little loophole now, and they
Yes.
had a little sitcom, Two Broke Girls.
Right, where they just showed them out. At
They
the end.
showed the amount of money they were trying to save.
We could have done that. Absolutely. What
Bingo.
would have made the movie funny?
Go ahead, Bob.
I'm sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I love
No.
you. I'm just joking.
I'm sorry.
What would have made the movie funnier?
Talk, Bob.
Bill Murray.
What in what part? Brewster, right?
No, not Brewster.
Him
I
and
would
John
have
Candy?
swapped out the guy that played the boyfriend, the fiance, with Bill Murray or Chevy Chase.
I think honestly, Chevy Chase would have been a perfect for as Warren.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's a dill hole. And Bill Murray as Brewster. Did Bill Murray and John Candy ever do a movie together other than Stripes?
I think so. Did they do Were they Meatballs together? Like
I
briefly.
don't think Candy was in Meatballs.
I think he was in Meatballs briefly.
Because all they had Stripes where Candy had a really small part because he wasn't a big star yet. But they could have, like, I know
Was it
Candy did a team
Caddyshack?
up with Dan Aykroyd, and even in Caddyshack, John Candy wasn't in Caddyshack.
Nothing but trouble with Dan Aykroyd and
Right.
Chevy Chase.
Right. I'm saying Candy teamed up with those guys, but did he ever do a Bill Murray movie where they were like together at top billed? I don't think
so.
Which would have been great. And so give me Brewster's Millions with Bill Murray.
What about Richard Pryor? What would you do with him?
He wouldn't be in the movie. I don't think he was right for the part. He's very funny in other movies.
Oh, I
like
loved him in Superman 3.
They tapped him. They kind of tamped him down for this.
They did.
They took his signature humor,
and that's why I didn't like the movie. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
Because it's a PG,
Show's over, guys.
It's a PG movie, and they just literally took the reins away from Richard Pryor
Yeah.
to be fully Richard Pryor.
They
That's it.
Bill Saget.
What's up?
Bob Sageted him.
Yeah, they
right,
Bob
in
Saget.
on Full House.
Yeah,
Right.
they threw Bob Saget at Full House, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't do your normal shenanigans."
Yep.
So why am I here? Because
Ultimately,
you're Bob Saget.
Yeah.
You're like, great. I'm only Bob Saget when I'm allowed to be Bob Saget. I'm only Richard Pryor when I'm allowed to be Richard Pryor.
Is Bob Saget in this film?
This isn't a dig at Pryor because
No, this is not.
this movie is not indicative
Harlem Nights.
isn't indicative of his entire career. I mean, the guy's a legend, hilarious stand-up comedian, and he's done some hilarious movies. I just don't think this movie he belonged in this movie at all, unless you're going to let him do his thing and make it an R-rated movie.
They should have made an R-rated movie.
You know what I'm saying?
That
All
was
right,
the
but back to
downfall.
this. So at the end of the political montage, he ends up getting sued by the other two candidates because he's just bad-mouthed them like crazy.
Hey, this guy's a bad mouth.
Right.
Let's take a swim to the fishies.
And so he settles for $4 million, which is another brilliant way to get rid of some money.
Exactly.
Yep.
And drops out of the race. And so we finally get to the exhibition game where he's going to play against the Yankees.
Yep.
And here's for 3 innings. Here's my big problem with this. This drove me freaking nuts.
How nuts?
He bought these beautiful new uniforms for the Hackensack Bulls that looked terrible. The colors
They
and
should have just changed the name to the Hackensack Pickles.
something. But here's the thing: why build this up? I don't know. They lay the tracks. No pun intended with the railroad tracks, but they lay the tracks for the whole movie of I can get anyone out for 3 innings.
Yes.
That's why I want to do. I want to show that I can do it.
Yep.
I can get anyone out for 3 innings, and then he doesn't get everyone out for 3 innings.
Yep.
So he can't even do the thing he said the whole movie he was going to be able to do. And they pull his ass. He's a starting pitcher. They pull him like he's sweating. I'm like, you pitched 3 innings.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got nothing left. He doesn't say that, but like you can tell by the way he looks. And the coach comes out, he's like, I got to pull the pitcher. Like, you set this whole thing up and then you didn't even deliver on it. Yeah. What a great moment for Monty that would have been to strike out the Yankees for 3 innings.
But the fact that he failed was the thing that taught him the biggest lesson: humility.
Right.
It's like me saying I could be on a podcast and be funny, and here I am about to get pulled.
I'm over here sweating.
You don't know how close you are. Yeah, but I do want to not just blow past this exhibition game, because the funniest part in the dang movie to me was John Candy. We got the New York Yankees. You had all-stars and big-time players coming up to bat, and John Candy is talking his crap like it's a minor league game.
God, it's awesome.
So are these legitimate players at that time or in the movie?
No, I think they were just actors. Kind of like in Major League, they had the fake. But as they're coming up, Candy's like, "Oh man, you're a great player. You should have been an all-star this year. I can't believe you didn't make the all-star team." And I saw that game you played against Pittsburgh or whatever. And the guy that's up the bat's like, "Oh yeah, you like that? Oh cool. Oh thanks, man." Like he's like right there with it. Do a first pitch, he like fouls it off or as a strike, and he's like, "Oh hey man," no. And he's still being super nice.
Yeah.
And then right before what's gonna be strike 3, he comes like, "Oh, and I saw your wife the other day. She was an ugly bitch." Strike 3, right? Like it is totally perfect timing.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
But then the next guy comes up. He's like, "Man, that shit's not gonna work."
Don't talk to me, fat boy, or something.
He's like, "Yeah," and his wife is an ugly bitch.
You see that guy's wife? Yeah, ugly bitch.
Home run. Home run in it.
That guy was stone cold. The guy that came up next.
Hell yeah.
But the first guy, when he gets him on that third strike, they start arguing, and it's this hilarious point where the umpire's trying to break him up, and John Candy calls him an asshole, and then he's like, "What did I say?"
Yeah.
Like right after he just clearly said,
isn't that a great movie?
10 horrible things.
Yeah, this is a great movie.
You're right. For these 3 minutes, I was like, I almost changed my entire perspective on everything.
You almost? I thought you did.
No, I didn't.
Damn it.
Pat Hingle, now he gets pulled out of the game, Money Brewster does, and they end up losing to the Yankees 4-1. Pat Hingle is like the ghost of Scrooge McDuck or something. I don't know. He just keeps popping up. Like he's not affiliated, but he keeps popping up like he's his guardian angel or something throughout the movie to make sure he's, not giving up or whatever. And so he sees him in the locker room, tries to give him a little pep talk.
Yeah.
Well, he's the executor of the will.
Yeah. He wants to see him do it. He wants to see him succeed. Whereas the other 2 lawyers are working against him.
Right.
He technically doesn't have a dog in the fight, but you can clearly see that Pat Hingle's character wants Monty to get the money.
Yeah.
Right? And so I really liked Pat Hingle in this movie.
Yes.
And he's been on the show a couple times too. I know, obviously, in Batman and Robin, but he was also in Maximum Overdrive. He was the bad guy. He was like the guy that owned the diner that was
He was one of the
doing the stuff with the ex-cons, like not giving them their full hours.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
He played a villain a couple of times in some Clint Eastwood movies.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
buddy.
a direct hit to the forehead. Joe just balled up a piece of paper and hit Bob across this entire table with it.
It's a good thing
I wasn't trying. I apologize.
And again, don't throw the Terminator skull.
Oh, crap.
That's made out of titanium, high-strength titanium alloy.
Aliens made that.
That's right. At this point, again, because we don't have a visual, we only got it during that montage. We don't know until right after this point. Those are good for throwing. Those are flip-flops. We find out he's only got $38,000 left after this baseball.
And he can easily just get rid of that in one party.
And so he's just going to blow it on a party. And at this point, Miss Drake has had it. She's like, "You're going to blow your last 38 grand." He's trying to tell her, just wait till tomorrow, right? Everything will be different.
I think he played that up way too hard. I do have to say, this is one part I was like, man, I wouldn't care what anybody thought.
Right.
I have like, what, 8 hours left.
Right.
I don't care if everybody thinks I'm an a-hole for the next 8 hours. Just after that, I'll explain everything, and I'll be redeemed of all my, all my problems, and who cares? At the time, like I said, he had the great theory. I'm just going to get crap-faced and
right, exactly.
just sleep off the rest.
In fact, he finished it a day early because he wakes up the next morning, and he has that whole day. He just walks around. No one knows where he is. And that night, he shows up at the lawyer's office. He's going to be back there by midnight. So he literally does it in 29 days.
Yeah.
Right? And he does it. He gets rid of everything, and he just gets drunk. And it's interesting at this point, you see the party is like not that many people there.
I've noticed.
The entourage is gone.
Yeah.
The money is gone. And so from the fact that you said, Mel, of this being a fable, it's a really effective fable.
Oh, yeah.
You see, like, everybody loves him for this 30 days. He's got this money, and all of a sudden, beforehand, no one gave a crap who Monty Brewster was.
Yep.
He had one friend in the whole world.
Yep.
Then he had a million friends.
You see all the burnout friends in the at the party. They're all like kind of like smoking, but kind of like falling asleep because they just partied too much.
And there's like 12 people there. It seems
12
like,
people there. Yeah.
And now that the money's run out, especially the next morning, everyone's back to being a dick to him. Even the service people, the people collecting his clothes, the guy that owns the hotel, they're all just back to being like, you're a piece of crap again.
I just gave you $30 million. Like, what are you treating me like this for?
But and he's again by himself. He's literally walking around by himself again.
Those clothes, we gave you are ours.
Right.
Yep.
I do like the one line earlier in the movie with the clothes guys where he's like, "Do you guys think I'm a lowlife?" He's like, "Not in these clothes, sir."
Yeah, not in these clothes.
But yeah,
the doorman was.
So that's an interesting.
Oh yeah, the doorman was cool.
It's an interesting tale from that standpoint, right? And I think it rings true to how much people come around people and are obsessed with money and what true friendship is. And this is, I think, perfectly illustrated in this scene by John Candy. Spike is the realest dude, the realest friend of
100%.
all time. He comes up to him at this party and he says, "Monty, I saved all the money. We'll get a car.
Yep.
You're going to come with me across the country. We'll fish every day.
Yep.
We'll
do something fun.
Do something fun." And he's just going to he's going to save his friend.
Right.
And he saved them. I'm like, I literally got like goosebumps. I was like, this is the realest dude of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
And he hugs him and he laughs about it. Like, can't believe we did this.
What a great movie this is.
And it's this part of the movie is very effective.
Bob's gonna chuck that thing.
This part of the movie is effective.
It was. That was the one part of the movie I actually felt something.
Right.
Was this like the speech between John Candy and Richard Pryor?
Here's the problem.
That was good acting. It was solid. My grievances with this movie is not because of who's in it. It's because of how they made it and the rating. Like,
it's not a comedy.
It's not.
I agree. It's not a comedy.
The best parts of the movie, like we're talking about now, that really work, the thing about money and power and friendship and Spike's thing here and all that all works really well. But it's not a comedy.
It's a tragedy.
It is.
Literally. That's. I don't know how it was a comedy.
Bob put the thing down.
Oh, the other one.
That was the whole fake out.
That wasn't. He was coming. I would have felt bad because I probably would have hit him in the glasses, broke his glasses, and then,
Sorry, I have my large meat hands to protect me.
It's a good thing we're talking about interpersonal fights in this
I'm going to say your significant other loves your large.
And I did think it was so dumb when he's arguing with Miss Drake right before the party, and he's like, just wait till tomorrow, just wait till tomorrow. And she's like, no, screw you. She leaves and slams the door behind him, and then he goes, I love you, after she's left.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? There, guys, I know you've been defending this movie the whole time. But hopefully even you can admit, between those two, there was nothing there.
There was no chemistry.
What? There was nothing there.
Steven Seagal had better chemistry with a doorknob.
I just can't put my finger on it.
Mel just keeps reaching over and putting his hand on the trash can. I wonder
He never changed the face.
Yeah, well, because the face isn't
poor
seen.
guy.
The face doesn't get seen. They don't even know what's there.
Oh man, we got
now they do because you said something.
Well, we got to print it.
We'll print a face and
we got to print a big fat chunky face.
Right.
I was gonna say it'll cover everything.
It's gonna cover everything.
So yeah, there was nothing between these two.
Yeah, that was
the chemistry.
And I know it's a comedy, but there's all kinds of comedies in the 80s that also simultaneously were able to establish effective chemistry between
Running Scared with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines is a great.
I'm talking about even like the love story tends to be a side story in these 80s comedies, right?
Yeah.
And the love story here was a side story.
Yeah.
But even in other, like in Ghostbusters with Murray and Sigourney Weaver, they only had a few scenes together and they were effectively able to do it. You believed it.
Yeah.
Right? Or even with Ferris and his girlfriend. Let's just keep going back to Ferris with Mia Sara, right? Side story, but you totally bought that chemistry there between the two.
Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze.
We get it.
Probably the greatest love story in the 80s, right?
So it didn't finish on a strong note.
No, but I believe more between Dan Aykroyd and Jamie Lee Curtis in Trading Places than I did between these two.
Wait a minute. What if the relationship, the love interest, what if it was Richard Pryor and John Candy?
I bought that they loved each other more.
Yes, we bought the fact that they were friends.
That
100%.
What if I'm just super happy that one. Those two people in the bar.
He had more
together.
chemistry with the two chicks with the two chicks. As I said, chicks on a radio. Sorry, two chicks in the bar. They did with Miss Drake.
When they were walking out, I believed it. When they were walking home with him at the beginning of that first scene,
yeah.
I still, when he was like, "I love you," I was like, "Why?" All right, before we get past the party, I do want to say that my favorite actor in the whole thing was that bored dancer guy they cut to. That was you ever see that dude was just he was like slow dancing at the end, and the dude just looking off to camera, just like with the most bored look on his face.
Yeah.
You know what that says?
That guy nailed it.
Think about this. You're around all this money and stuff, and that's why people dumped off or dropped off at the end because 30 days of extravagance, and they're just like, yeah, this is boring. I'm done.
But I wonder what that guy's audition was like.
That could have been it too.
If you look as bored as possible, you're hired. It's awesome.
It's a job I could do.
All right, so the crowd is gone. The service people are dicks. No one cares. Warren, it meets up with him right as it's like almost midnight, like right at the end. He's going up the elevator with Warren
5 minutes to midnight.
to the 5 minutes to midnight to the lawyer's office to say, I did it. I spent it all. I have nothing but the clothes on my back. And Warren hands him back $20,000. Says, "Oh, this was a deposit you gave me towards that furniture. They returned it, so here it is." And waits till the last second to give it back to him to be like, "Oh, you're not broke anymore."
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
And
Psych. Question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think he actually did that out of spite, like maliciously, or do you think he was actually like caring for him?
Who? Warren?
Warren, yeah.
No, I think Warren was just completing his job to sabotage him.
I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was sabotaging him with it. I know he was supposed to. I know they set it up, but I think he was kind of going, "Hey, you're not broke."
No, well, but he doesn't get to keep that 20 either way.
He as the whole everything was going down, and Richard Pryor was about to sign it off
to say I failed.
Exactly. Warren's like, "Oh man, I'm going to become part of the team now."
He was a schemer. He was a schemer for sure.
Plan came together.
So they walk. Yeah. So Pryor walks into this with the office with Pat Hingle and the two lawyers, and they now see that he's got the 20 grand. And Pryor even says, "I failed. I still have $20,000." And he says, "All right, well, you got to sign this piece of paper saying you failed. Now the money's going to go to the firm." And you're right. Warren's outside looking through the window, like, saying, "Oh, as soon as he signs this, the firm gets it, and I'm going to be made a partner." And he says that as Miss Drake has come by, going, "What's going on in here?" Yeah. Very convenient. He says to her, "All right, it's probably fine for me to tell you now, but he had to spend that money for 30 days and now just lets it all out. And now she knows what he's been doing."
Yep.
And she busts into the room to blow Warren out of the water to say these guys conspired fraudulently to make it seem like he didn't complete the task. Yep. And like, you can't prove it, all this stuff.
Yep. And then Richard Pryor decks Warren.
Yes. He says, "I'm going to sue you."
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Oh, would you like to settle out of court for $20,000?"
I know, which is funny.
Which is great. It's like literally a minute to go, and he goes, "Oh, you think I'm an idiot? I'm not going to buy that." He's like, "You're gonna need a lawyer." He's like, "Great." Turns to Miss Drake and says, "Is $20,000 enough for a retainer?"
Yep.
And she's like, "Sure, you'll need a receipt." They quickly draft the receipt.
Boom.
Boom. "I'm nothing but a paralegal, but we need a receipt."
That's right.
Yeah. When I go to college,
you can use that as a deposit to go to college, right?
Yep. $300 million in the can.
And he gets it. And you know what? The ending sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked.
It was a bit abrupt.
It was not only it was so anticlimactic. Like the guy just gets $300 million,
walk out,
and they just stroll out of the office like, "Hey, nice job, high five," and then they like, la,
John
la, la,
Candy,
la.
like, where's John Candy? John Candy disappears. Like, that was John Candy's last.
Let me see how he tells his friend John Candy.
Yeah.
Who still, by the time the credits are rolling, doesn't know what had happened the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even get to see him explain to his friend, "Hey, now we're rich. You're the guy that was going to take me on out fishing every day."
I just thought he was going to look over his shoulder and go, "Hey, you can find me in the school."
What a crappy ending.
Yeah, it was a little abrupt.
And they didn't
You know something? James, now that you pointed out that ending was abrupt, I think this whole movie was trash. Thank you for that. Because now, I thought this movie was fantastic until you pointed that out.
Appreciate it.
Now, Bob, what kind of a pile of shit did James just force us to watch?
Yeah,
I forced you to watch.
Forced me to watch.
Hold on, Richard Pryor. Bullshit. That's not what happened at all.
It was
patrons.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
Could have watched Lone Wolf McQuade. All right, maybe
Mark
take that.
Gusick. Yeah, Mark
Gosler Jr.
Not Gusick. Gusick. He's the goose.
Mark Gorp.
Which isn't, he's not even doing awards on this episode, but he'll be back.
He'll be fine. You guys will be fine.
All right.
Boy, these patrons really suck.
All right, can we get to the awards?
Yeah. What awards? Throw the whole movie in the trash can and kick that shit in the ocean.
You're right, Bob.
Yeah.
This movie is trash.
Not because Richard Pryor is black. That has nothing to do with it.
What? No one said that. Only you did. Only you did. Of course it doesn't. All right.
Well, you got to explain things nowadays. Otherwise, they think you're just... You hate everything.
Especially when you say you like something.
Like, I like this movie.
All right. The first award we're going to start with, as always, is the Will Patton Award for Intensity.
There's nothing!
You want a war? I'll give you a war!
Will Patton, go back home.
Another yard. You blitz all night!
No blitzing. This movie sucks.
Take every last one of you out. You make
Take the whole movie out, Will.
They remember forever.
No one wants to remember this shit.
The night they played the Hackensack Bulls.
Yep, they forgot those Titans. And they didn't blitz every time.
Could you imagine if Will Patton had been in this movie?
Oh, my God.
It would have been intense.
How much better would this have been?
It would have been exactly like having sex while camping.
Yeah?
Yeah, fucking intense.
The Will Patton Award is the award we give out to the actor that took their role the most seriously. That even though they were in a comedy, Brewster's Millions, they were like, you know what? I'm treating this job very seriously. I'm going to bring intensity to the role. Who was that person? And for me, guys, I'll just kick us off right here and say that to me, the guy that sold it, that was intense, that I believed was a minor league ball coach, was Jerry Orbach. So I think Jerry Orbach, who we didn't really talk much about because, you know, not a lot to say as far as like dialogue and things like that, but I really believed him as a minor league ball coach. And, you know, as a ball coach yourself, you've probably been a little bit like Jerry Orbach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every day.
Awesome. So who are your nominations, Joe, for the Will Patton Award for Intensity?
I think the most believable character was Richard Pryor. I mean, that's what I think.
I'll hand it to you. Okay. Here's the flip-flop, Bob.
Oh, shit. Oh, crap. Okay. All right. Good thing my hands were up.
All right. So Richard Pryor?
No, not Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Come on. No, actually, I think John Candy.
John Candy. Okay.
I enjoyed his performance. You're probably going to hear his name a couple times.
All right.
But
fair enough.
Yeah. For intensity and him behind the plate, I loved it.
All right. Fair enough. Mel?
John Candy.
Yeah. John Candy. All right. Bob, who's your nomination?
The Mog.
None.
Abstaining.
What?
You can't abstain.
You can't abstain.
All right, fine.
That's
Out of love, John Candy.
there.
All
You
right,
go.
John Candy.
Yeah.
John Candy. Let's see what the patrons had to say today. Playing along with us,
them.
we have Mr. J.P. Dozier.
Hey, Jeff
He voted for this movie.
For sure, 100%. JP said Richard Pryor. He always goes all out in his movies.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was all the cocaine he did in the 80s. Most likely had to be that. Yeah. No,
Allegedly.
JP, he does usually go all out in his movies.
I think he smoked a little too much weed and was chilling.
Yeah, he seemed a little tamped down in this one for sure. But I respect your pick of Richard Pryor there. And Jack Dean is also joining us. Love it when Jack's on here. And same with JP. I think it's the first time in a little bit JP's been on here also. Jack Dean went with John Candy, I guess? Question mark.
Yeah, well, okay.
So this was the first time I've struggled to pick a Will Patton Award. Lots of great actors in this movie, but nobody stood out to me to be deserving of the Will Patton Award.
Ooh.
And I agree with that take.
I will definitely agree with you.
This was a hard one, for sure. But ultimately, with all those votes, it means that John Candy is going to win the Will Patton Award for Intensity. So we can give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, John Candy.
Yeah, I can't wait to his next movie.
I can't wait either. Like I said, I think this is our third one. I might be missing one. But I know it was Armed and Dangerous, and I know we did Nothing But Trouble. Was there another John Candy movie we did that I'm not thinking of? Maybe?
Not yet.
Not yet. We'll have him back on, I'm sure, in no time. It's time now we move on to the actor, or the award we give out to the worst actor in the movie, the Steven Seagal Trash Can Filled with Dirt.
Yay!
Trash can, oh trash can, it's a trash can full of dirt. Yeah.
Just so you know.
No, I'll do it again.
Trash can,
Yeah.
oh trash can,
Wait, hold on.
trash can, oh trash can, it's a trash can full of dirt. Yeah.
Love never dies, and neither do they. Love is eternal, and that's a long time.
What a tool.
This is my first episode on the show with a new trash can for the dirt, and I completely approve.
I love it. He goes,
The world approves of that.
love is eternal, and that's a long time.
Thank you for that words of wisdom.
Something to live your life by.
Light is very bright.
It helps you see.
That's right.
Just so you know, I got girlfriends younger than you. You're a shit.
Okay. All right, Joe, who's your nomination for the Steven Seagal trash can?
I don't know. I had to come back around.
Come back around. Mel, who's your trash can?
Her. I don't even care what her name is. She sucked.
Lynette?
Lynette, sure.
What was her?
Sorry, Lynette.
I already threw it down.
I don't even care.
You talking about the lawyer or the
Miss
paralegal? Miss Paralegal?
Drake.
Oh, Miss Drake.
Miss Drake, yeah, sorry.
Miss Drake, whose name was Lynette McKee.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
she could have been replaced by anybody.
No, you're right.
An ATM.
Okay. I'll agree with that.
Lynette McKee?
Yeah. Yeah, she probably could have been replaced with a 10-year-old boy.
Oh, my God.
Gross.
Guys, I'm also going to go with it. I'm going to go with Lynette McKee as well. So that's 3. I don't know, Bob, who are you going with? You don't have to agree.
Can I just throw the whole cast in the trash can minus John Candy?
John Candy is in there, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to take John Candy out. I'm going to take Richard Pryor out.
Everybody else besides those
Everybody
two.
else besides those two.
Even Pat Hingle and Jerry Orbach. Just pick one person. You can do it.
Stillwell?
Who is the crappiest? Special Agent Johnson?
No, he was pretty fun.
The girl that wanted the naked massage?
Yeah.
She was all right.
You got a car?
I got a bus.
I got a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll follow the trend. I'll throw Skeletor's goofy cousin in there.
Lynette
Oh, my God.
Lynette McKee.
Emotional.
Skeletor's goofy cousin.
Just so you know, there's no Sherilyn Fenn Award today, you guys. Thank you for ruining my day.
There's got to be.
John Candy.
What about that one girl with the huge lobster cracking hands?
She was all right.
The Kraken. Do you want to pick her?
The Kraken.
What about the lipstick chick?
Lipstick chick.
Yeah, lipstick chick.
There you go.
Shiny lipsticks chick.
Marilyn.
All right,
Marilyn is
interior
the hot
designer
babe
will get the hot
from
chick
Walking
award.
Dead.
What
Okay.
about the reported?
Who's the Rain Award winner then?
Well, the Brain Award's got to go to John Candy.
John Candy.
He's a
All right.
Dude,
Fair
I
enough.
was going to go with the left fielder. I don't even know what his name is.
that guy owns his weight.
All right. So
And his look.
here we go to our patrons. Now, Jack, I'll let it slide this one time, but you can't do this now going forward. We make people answer. He said none for the trash can full of dirt.
Nope.
Can't have it.
You have to answer.
So I can't get
or
back
else
to you
null
now.
and void.
He gets one nominated for him.
That's right. So Jack is going to go with Lynette McKee. Good choice. Good choice. Good
Thank you,
choice,
Jack.
JP Dozier came in with the Steven Seagal trash can filled with dirt in a dumpster fire award. Milt Kogan as Heller and Carmine Caridi as Salvino, the two old lawyers.
Really?
So he goes, Salvino looked like a Wish version of a mob boss, and Heller looked like a sexual harassment suit waiting to happen.
They were the mayor candidates.
Oh, is that who they were?
Yeah, they were the mayor candidates.
All right, I thought it was the two old lawyers. All right,
I was
you're
going to
right.
say, because I loved them on the Muppets.
I understand their roles. I understand their roles in the movie, but they seem so pointless at the same time. I'll agree with you. That's a good pick for you, JP. So,
right.
But ultimately, with as many votes as we had here, the Trash Can Full of Dirt award is going to go to Lynette McKee as Miss Drake.
Well deserved.
Which brings us to our top 3 performances. So, Joe, if you had to rate the objective quality out the window, even if they were bad, just the 3 performances you enjoyed the most, who'd you have as your top 3?
Number 3, the slow dancing guy.
Slow dancing guy.
Yep. His performance
It's great.
stunning.
Perfect.
Number 2, the head security guard.
Yeah?
Loved that guy.
He was good.
Yeah, I loved it.
He was good.
He was the only other one with John Candy to do a little pool some money together.
Yeah.
And give it to him. So he actually genuinely liked him. So
You're right.
I thought that was a good guy.
That's good.
And then number 1, John Candy.
John Candy.
John Candy.
I love. Interesting that a certain someone was missing from your top 3 performances.
Who would that be?
I don't know. Let's see if that's a trend. Mel, who was your top 3?
Number 3, security, head of security.
Yeah.
See?
Number
I
2,
said-
Richard Pryor.
Oh, okay.
Number 1, John Candy.
Number 1, John Candy. I went with Pat Hingle, number 3. I liked him in this movie a lot. Jerry Orbach, number 2, and John Candy, number 1.
Okay.
So no Pryor in my top 3 either.
So I was supposed to have Pryor in mind?
No, I'm just saying I was interesting. I thought I was going to be the only one that didn't have him.
Oh.
And then you also didn't have him in your top 3.
This makes more sense now.
Yeah. Bob?
Agent Johnson, number 3.
Special Agent Johnson.
The
Grand Bush.
The train, number 2.
The train.
Choo choo. Come on, ride that train.
John Candy, number 1.
John Candy, number 1. All right.
Come on.
Let's hit our patrons. And we got JP, who went in with number 3, Rick Moranis as Morty, King of the Mimics.
I love Rick Moranis. That was not his best. That was his worst role ever.
He enjoyed it. Is in his top 3. He had John Candy, number 2, and Richard Pryor, number 1. For JP, he talked about Pryor in the Will Patton. He really liked Richard Pryor in this movie, which that's cool, man.
Clearly, you're born without a brain.
He probably be dead if that was true.
Yeah.
I think you need a brain to be alive.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible.
Richard Pryor is dead.
No, not Richard Pryor.
Oh,
JP
sorry.
Dozier.
Okay, JP Dozier. I hope you're well.
Jack Dean went with Stephen Collins. He says it's fun to see Mr. Seventh Heaven way before he was Mr. TV Minister.
Yes.
John Candy, always fun to see this guy in anything. And Richard Pryor, similar to John Candy, he was just a lot of fun to see in this movie. So a lot of love from Jack and JP for Richard Pryor in this movie. But that's across the board, a mix. Usually we do these movies and there's kind of a theme between everybody's top 3. I know John Candy was at the top of all 4 of ours.
Yeah.
But outside of that, lots of differences between everybody's top performances. It's interesting. I think if the only thing that could have changed John Candy being number 1 on everybody's list is if Arnold Schwarzenegger had been in the movie.
Oh, God, yeah.
Then I think at that point, maybe John Candy is still number 1 for some people, but then for other people, maybe it's an even mix.
I think if you're gonna change anything and pull out something and put Arnold in, it would be Richard Pryor would have to spend Arnold Schwarzenegger in 30 days.
How do you do that?
I was just gonna say Arnold Schwarzenegger is Miss Drake.
Is Miss Drake?
Yeah, total drag.
Would he just remove the romantic subplot? Okay,
there really wasn't one,
and just because there wasn't one, and just have Arnold be the accountant that has to keep track of all of his expenditures.
The poster could have just been him holding Richard Pryor with a bunch of
put the checkbook down.
No,
stop spending money. It'd be awesome.
It's not an iceberg. We're not buying that crap. Who puts money on that crap? There's no farmers in the desert.
Or he hires Arnold to decorate his apartment for him.
I'm an interior decorator.
Listen to me carefully, okay? Because here we're going to have the jungle room, right? And there's going to be bad guys that come out of the ceiling, okay? And so when you come down here, you have to get down, all right? Otherwise, you're going to be killed because the knives, the machetes are going to swing across the room like this, all right? So you have to be very quick. It'd be amazing.
I would die in this room.
That's right.
Where are you going to put the LZ?
The whole room is just a gym. The whole thing. Where's the
exactly
LZ?
What it be.
The LZ is they cuts open the ceiling and you land in the next room next to that.
Or kind of piggybacking off of your wish of if you got the $30 million.
Yeah.
What if you just had Arnold Schwarzenegger just carry Richard Pryor physically?
Right. What if he hired Arnold? That would be a genius thing to do. Hodor.
Like a Hodor.
Arnold would be my Hodor.
Yes. It's exactly what it would be.
I would be the kid with the legs that don't work. Brand.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It took me a second.
That's okay.
And then Arnold would be Hodor.
Yep.
Somebody leave me $30 million. It would be incredible.
Yeah.
He'd just walk around and he would just say, Hodor.
Yeah.
All the time? Or, he'd have to say something else.
No, it'd be Hodor.
Jabba. Jabba. Down. Something.
Yeah, just that.
I would literally hire Arnold. Okay, I know you said about the play thing, but I would hire Arnold and how much would 30 days get me? 2 days, 3 days, whatever it end up being.
Yeah.
Maybe a whole week for $30 million, right? I mean, he gets paid $30 million to spend, 6 weeks making a movie,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So maybe it'd give me the whole month. I don't know. But I would hire him just to follow me around and just say his catchphrases all the time. I'd be like, Arnold, do the one from Last Action Hero.
Do it.
Right? Ice that guy to cone a phrase, right? I would just, that's what I would do.
Yep.
And we'd hang out.
Yeah.
We'd become best friends, obviously.
If you playing Fortnite.
We'd be playing Fortnite together. You imagine getting Arnold on the sticks playing Fortnite and put him on the headset with the guys?
Nobody believe it.
It's over here. Get down. Get over here. I'm taking fire. Get to the storm.
Thank the bus driver.
That's how I do it. Oh my gosh, that would be so awesome. Oh my gosh, that would be so great.
I want to hear what the listeners and the patrons would do with their $30 million.
Please.
Oh yeah.
We need to hear that. So.
That would be more fun to me than having watched this movie.
You know what?
Hit us up.
Patrons in the episode discussion.
Yeah.
Hit us up on there.
Yeah.
But even if you're not a patron, email the show. This show is trash@gmail.com. Tell us how you'd spend your $30 million because we want to hear from you guys too. I know we talked about the patrons a lot this episode because it was a patron pick, but really it's not just about the patrons, it's about all our listeners. We want to hear from everybody. Send us that email. This show is trash@gmail.com.
I know what Bob would use it for.
What, $30 million?
Coke and pre-workout.
Coke and pre-workout.
And about 50 women.
Oh my God.
The ones with the big
Just to
hands.
carry the bags of pre-workout.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Not to say you would do anything with them.
Right, they wouldn't. No one would believe anything like that would happen.
Just use them for like pack mules.
That's right. JP says Arnold should replace Joe Grafasi's character as Brewster's personal photographer.
What?
Arnold should have been Brewster's
I thought you
personal photographer.
I thought you just couldn't pronounce my name.
No. It would be hilarious to see him and John Candy arguing with each other over the little things. Yeah, they hated each other.
They did.
We didn't really get a chance to talk about that.
That was
I
fun.
mean, the guy was a tool.
He was paying him $10,000 a week, and he was still stealing ashtrays and stuff. I'm like, bro, that's $40,000 you made this month in 1980.
I want to see all those photos.
You don't need. I want to see the photos. But I also want to know why he still feels the need to steal, forks and ashtrays and all that stuff. Doesn't make any damn sense. Jack Dean said, maybe Arnold would make this better. He might be fun as John Candy's character or the bank security guard he hires, but he couldn't replace Richard Pryor. Jack, there's a running theme between all of Jack's answers, and I think he might even illuminate here in his final response. He really seemed to have struggled. He said he struggled with Will Patton. He didn't want to give a trash can. He said none. And even this one, he's like, maybe, I don't know. Like Jack usually is pretty decisive in his takes.
Yeah.
It seemed like for this one, he really, I don't know what it was. Jack, you'll have to let us know about the movie that made it like so hard to make these picks. Like, did you really struggle that it was like better than you thought or worse than you thought? I'm interested to see why it was difficult for you. Because it was difficult for me too. I'm not acknowledging or saying that it wasn't hard, because this was a hard one to do awards for.
It's a hard one to watch.
It was a lovely one to watch.
We have to ultimately land on something here, guys, and so we've got to make our final determination. With the end here, we're going to say, okay, was everybody wrong? The critics were wrong, and it was a good movie, full stop. Is it a bad movie with no qualifiers, meaning it's not even enjoyable to watch? The critics were right, it stinks. Or was it the third category? Objectively, yeah, maybe it's a bad movie, but it ruled, aka a bad movie that rules. Joe, where do you come down on this one?
Okay, in all honesty,
yeah.
I'm not gonna pull my punches, and I'm not gonna, be pressured by you.
Don't be
you simpletons on the other side of the table here.
Yeah, not the first time that's been levied.
No, I don't care. I'll go against the status quo.
Yeah,
this is a good movie. That's good.
Wow.
I found myself taking notes, and what the. So you guys okay?
I just need to take my glasses off for a second.
Okay.
I just got to rub my eyes. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Well, I found myself watching this movie, taking notes, and then getting. Good Lord. Looks like they're going to.
No, you're going to take out half the stuff on the table if you throw that at them. Don't do that. Thank you, though.
Well, this will be my last episode, guys. It's been a fun ride.
It's been a run.
Where's the Ghostbuster guy?
100+ episodes.
I guess some people can have an
go for
opinion
it.
over here.
Have all
This
the
is
opinion.
America. You can't have an opinion.
Right. No. I feel like I'm going to get
You can't have an opinion in
crucified
America
over here.
nowadays.
No, not at all. I am interested that you said good movie that's good, though. Because
good movie that's good. I'm sticking with my guns.
Stick with it.
You got a problem with it? Come meet these meat hands.
That's right. Joe just made a lot of friends on the
right
Patreon.
here.
Joe just made a lot of Patreon friends. Yeah.
There you go.
Mel, where you at?
So usually there's things that jump right out that we can just rip on, make fun of, whatever. Things that are awesome talking points, and this movie had none of them. The reason why is this was a straight up good movie.
Straight up good movie.
So this goes back, I mean, the fable, the story it kind of tells and all that stuff. I mean, it really, I reflected on it as I watched it. At my current age,
they don't care.
They don't care. I know. It actually sparked.
But say it because they care. Go ahead.
It sparked a lot of thoughts about what people value and flash in the pan when it comes to like.
Look at them.
Look at them. They
look
don't
at
care.
them. Don't look at these guys. Look at them.
You think about flash in the pan, and you think about people that have their 15 minutes of fame, and everybody wants to do things for them, or people that get a ton of money, but then it's gone, and it just shows how cheap people are, like as people. Not even money-wise, just as superficial shallow people.
It's a critique of the whole human race.
And is this movie, it kind of sparked something, and it was a late night watch after 29 hours or 30 hours awake, and I loved it.
All right.
Seeing it today.
Okay.
Seeing it again.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, show's over. I'm not.
Bob, do you want to go last or do you want to go now?
Well, I have herpes now after watching this movie.
Take some Tylenol. Worked for me.
I got an STD or something of itch in my crotch.
Just walk it off.
So how would you rate it?
Well, I will say this. I didn't like it at all.
Okay.
It's bad movie to me, but it's a good movie to others. So I could see how it could be a good movie to others, but I just didn't enjoy it for one. It's Richard Pryor chained up, not being Richard Pryor. The movie's rated PG. Yeah, okay, it's got a nice message. Don't be a jackass. Great.
Just say it, Bob.
Yeah, it's a bad movie.
All right.
It was.
Is it a bad movie that's bad or bad movie?
It's a bad movie that's bad.
Full stop.
It just. I didn't. I got lied to. I'm like, oh, Brewster's Millions. This looks kind of funny. And I'm just like, I didn't laugh once except for John Candy and the train. That was it.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you there. I didn't really laugh. I didn't laugh at all.
Yeah, I think that's
But
what I was like.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was expecting was something, and I was like, I didn't get any of that.
Well, it's all about expectations, right? I mean, anytime we go in to see anything, if it doesn't meet your expectations, and this is why I always try to go in with none if I can, because oftentimes disappointment comes from unmet expectations, and I think that's where I am on this. I think ultimately this movie is billed as a comedy. It says it's a comedy. It's filed under comedy.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not a comedy. There's nothing funny. That's an exaggeration. There's a few funny moments, but good Lord, it's not. As I said before, I laughed 3 times. This movie, as an allegory, as a parable, as a fable, whatever you want to say, a very effective story in that sense. It tells that story beautifully, right? But that's not what I came in expecting. And because I was expecting a comedy, and not only because they told me that's what it was.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Exactly.
I was like, this is a bad movie, full stop. That's the rating I'm giving it. It wasn't even enjoyable enough for me to want to watch again because, as you said, Richard Pryor was tied down. When you hold this movie up to the movie that it wanted to be, which was Trading Places, doesn't even come close to sniffing Trading Places, which was Eddie Murphy and these 2 old guys that were trying to make one guy rich and another guy not. And it's very, very similar. I felt like this movie really, because it came out afterwards, after Trading Places.
Trading Places was 82 or 83.
Yeah, or 84, but whatever. This movie wanted to be that, and it wasn't. You hold up, how many times you laugh when you watch Trading Places? I don't know the last time you watched Trading Places. It's hilarious.
Yep.
And it's pretty similar, and you've got equal talents. I'll say Richard Pryor is as good as Eddie Murphy, right? And
absolutely.
You got Dan Aykroyd and John Candy, and obviously I think John Candy may be a little funnier than Aykroyd, but they're just different kinds of funny. They do different kinds of things.
Right.
But this movie is objectively hilarious and a similar plot line, obviously not identical, but similar-ish. And this one is just not funny. It's not, doesn't mean it's not a beautifully told story in some respects.
It had a good message and a good story, like Mel was pointing out.
Yeah.
And Joe was pointing out.
Right.
Yes, I agree with you on the story aspect.
But when you hold this thing next to Trading Places, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. For me, that's how I landed on this.
See, and I think it cannot be a comedy. It is a straight up tragedy.
Well, then maybe they should have marketed it differently.
I think that's
the marketing.
And if I had gone in with those expectations, maybe I would have felt differently about it because I did enjoy those aspects of the movie.
Right.
But I'm like, it didn't make me laugh.
Who hurt you guys?
Nobody did.
Nobody hurt me.
I love a good comedy.
When a movie takes me out of my buzz,
I would have watched
a bad movie.
I'll watch Trading Places right now and laugh through the whole thing.
But this wasn't.
It wasn't it.
I would watch Vin Diesel and the Pacifier before I watch this again.
All right, let's hear what the patrons had to say here. JP says, this movie borders on a good movie and a bad movie that rules. I have to go with it being a bad movie that rules. It felt like it went on too long for what it was, and at times it feels like there was too much stuff going on when there didn't need to be. It's still one of my favorite movies to watch, but in the end, it is a BMR movie. So he recognizes it's a movie at least that belongs on the show as a bad movie that rules. So that's good.
Okay.
But it sounds like, JP, this is a movie you've seen for a long time. And maybe, again, if I had come to it in the 80s, I'd have that nostalgia attached to it, and I don't. But I'm glad that you still enjoy watching it. That's cool, man. Jack, here's his final thoughts. He says, I signed up for this movie thinking it was an Eddie Murphy movie.
Uh-oh.
I wonder what Eddie Murphy movie he thought this might have been.
Harlem Nights.
Trading Places, maybe?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Most likely.
As it turns out, I've never seen this movie before. What do I think about it? It's a good 80s comedy, not just a bad comedy that rules. It's a good 80s comedy that rules. So it looks like Jack Dean's going good movie that's good to join Joe and Mel over here.
Nice.
So good job for you guys. So it's pretty split. 3 good movies, 1 bad movie that rules, and 2 bad movies. I don't think I've seen such a wide swath.
It is a big curve.
Yeah.
It is
from people.
The hate mail is going to be pouring in.
Well, I don't know. Half of us thought it was great. So why would they be hating just because of what we said? I mean, they can if they want to. Go for it. We welcome that stuff, man. You want to send it in? Send it in.
Get your mayonnaise ready.
Get it out. Get it now.
You know, I really want to hear what people want to do with their $30 million.
Me too.
Yeah.
So send it in, guys.
That's what I want to hear.
This show is trash@gmail.com.
I wonder if we could do a special mailbag for that.
If we get enough of them.
Just that.
on,
so
guys.
please,
if we get enough of them, for sure.
Get enough. We need at least, 10?
Yeah, let's get at least 10.
Minimum.
10. And you know what? They could be funny. They could be serious, like super serious. They could be optimistic. Whatever you want. Just tell us what you do with $30 million.
It's true.
Blow it on me.
Next week, guys, we are going in a totally different direction. We couldn't go in a more different direction if we wanted to. We are heading from this feel-good 80s movie, this feel-good non-comedy 80s movie, to a movie from the 2000s starring Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner,
what?
and Colin Farrell.
Impossible.
Daredevil.
They never were.
2003.
How dare you?
That's a bad movie that rules.
I'm not on that episode, so I'm just going to throw out there bad movie.
Bad movie straight up.
That's a bad movie.
That's a bad movie straight up. This is a good movie, but that movie's bad.
Wow.
Okay, I got it now.
Got it?
I haven't watched it in so long. I can't make my declaration until next week. I'll talk about it next week. I haven't watched it.
You're lucky James is here. I'll throw this whole table at you.
I haven't watched it in years. So I remember not liking it when I saw it, but I'm interested on a revisit if it'll. We're not doing the director's cut. I know so many people are going, the director's cut is so much better.
Don't care.
Right? And it is better, but
James doesn't like director's cuts.
We do the theatrical release of the movie. I just, the ones that are reviewed by critics are it's the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
So that's the one that is the standard. That's the one we're going to use. So I will acknowledge I did see the director's cut years and years ago, and it is better.
Oh, yeah, by a landslide.
But we're going to go with the theatrical cut on this one. So join us next week for our next comic book movie, which is Daredevil from 2003, following in a long line of hits like Green Lantern and 1990s Captain America and other comic book movies that we've done. This will be the next one in a long line of bangers.
It is one.
So looking forward. This is definitely going to go down as one of the episodes we did on BMR. Join us next week for that. I know Kurt Mummer is going to be in the house for that one and a couple other people. So looking forward to how that goes.
I think the human database is in that one.
Yeah, Farrell will be there too as well.
There you go.
Yep. So thank you. Now I feel like we're just forgetting that other person. I don't know off the top of my head who it is. So I'm sorry to who that person is. But
Charles.
Not me.
No, Charles is on the one after that.
Clint.
So no, he's also
the
on that
mayor.
one. I don't know. It's one of those.
We're just going to go on all of them. So we mentioned everybody.
It'll be a surprise. Okay.
There you go.
There you go. In the meantime, I just want to say thank you guys for listening to this dumpster fire of an episode. We appreciate each and every one of you, even the ones of you who voted for Brewster's Millions, because you gave us the chance to come in here and have a lot of fun, right? And you wouldn't have been able to do that without you. So thanks to everybody.
Yeah.
And thanks to Joseph Gorotowski and Mel Vandy and the Manimal Bob Hauser.
Thank you for the STD to my eyeballs.
I'm James Hauser. Thank you for listening. He's got some money. He's got to blow it fast.
Bullshit.
Couldn't have just had an orgy with everyone at the Playboy Mansion?
That only cost $1,000.
Diversify your funds.
That's right.
Disney have a coupon for that?
No, you can cut a coupon. It's in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm poor. I'm poor.
Yeah, this really helped me see how poor I was.
Yeah. Maybe appreciate Grass Lake a little bit more.
Richard Pryor was totally believable as a baseball pitcher.